Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another quarter final of the URC. The Stormers hosting Cardiff, a rematch of a game that only took place not too long ago. That one was won by Cardiff, but the interesting fact about these two sides is that neither team has ever beaten the other away from home. So for this case, Stormers, they have the host ground, so you would think they've had a pretty good chance being able to get themselves the victory in this matchup. And looking through at the starting lineup right from the get-go, there are a lot of Springboks across the Stormers team. Ntutoko Machunu in the number 1 jersey, Andre Hugo Finta at 2, and Leling Fauchier slotting in as the 3. Andre Smith alongside Ruben van Heeren in the locking duo with Paul de Villiers, Ben Jason Dixon, and Evan Roos. It is one of the most dangerous in the URC when it comes to the ability of getting the turnovers as well as quite a few tries along the way too. Evan Roos for a long time been right up there in the try-scoring department. The back line, it is also dangerous starting in that 9-10 channel. Ahmad Khan starting at 9 with Sasha Feinberg and Gumea Zulu as the 10. Lelion Zas out on the left wing. Dan Duplessis and Ruan Nel make up the midfield with Ciabello Sinatla out on the other wing and Damien Balimza back where I believe he should be. I know that there were a few experiments done by the Stormers in terms of whether or not he could play out on the right wing. Sometimes he does play a little bit in the centres or even in the 10 jersey, but I think his best position partner with Sasha is Sasha at 10, Balimza in the 15. Looking through at the starting lineup for the Cardiff side. Reece Barrett in the front row alongside Liam Belcher and Kieran Azarati, Josh McNally and Rory Thornton as the 2 in the locks. James Botham, Daniel Thomas and Tane Basham, they will be the loose forward trio. Johan Mulder getting the start at number 9 with Owen Lloyd at 10. Josh Adams back into the side out on that left wing with Rory Jennings and Ben Thomas as the midfield. Thomas is one to definitely keep a close eye on here. Jacob Beetham out on the other wing and Cameron Winnett at number 15. Looking through at the chat, we have got Cardiff team, says Terence. Is this a live feed or the commentary? It is the commentary for this game. We are going to be doing the play-by-play all throughout the matchup, and it is only 12 minutes away from the kickoff of this contest. We already know that the Glasgow Warriors have booked themselves their spot through to the semi-finals. We also have seen the win for the Bulls just recently over Munster. Let's go the Stormers, says Anthony. We've got if Cardiff scrum can get parity. Could be a good game, says Kahu, and Bulls obliterated Munster, says Royalty of the Void. And also it's revenge time, says Neo. Yeah, not too long ago, we did see the result go the way of Cardiff when these two sides went head-to-head. In fact, we have got their most recent games. There we go. As you can see, the 16th of May. That was 2 weeks ago. So the Stormers have been able to stew on this one in terms of a rematch for the past 2 weeks, knowing that they were facing Cardiff and knowing that the game was taking place in Cape Town. And again, like I mentioned, neither of the two sides in Cardiff or the Stormers have ever beaten the other when it comes to an away leg of the URC. But Cardiff getting that win by 6, that was far from the Stormers' performance that we are used to seeing. They slightly went into their shell. They decided 3-pointers were the way to play, but this is one of the most dangerous sides when it comes to attack in the whole URC. So there should be no reason to chase the threes here, unless, of course, the respect towards that Cardiff defence, the Stormers feel that they can't go through. But, again, they have scored tries for fun all throughout this year. Good afternoon, sir, says Jeremy Jacobs. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well, mate. We have got there, come on the Stormers, says Bruce. And came for the Blues, getting a hiding suck, says K Slade. It does a little bit, but it sets up for some pretty interesting playoff games. We're going to get to see the Hurricanes hosting the Brumbies. The Chiefs host the Reds. Then also along the way, we've got... what else have we got in there? We've also got Crusaders Blues in Christchurch, which is a pretty awesome one. Come on, the Stormers. And no need to break tradition, says Neo. Yeah, it would be the first time in about the 5 or 6 meetings that these two sides have had. In fact, I think it's 5. Because from memory, when we were looking up at last week, or the week prior, Stormers have won 2 games from 2 at home, whereas Cardiff have won 3 games from 3 at home. So both of these sides have won at home, no matter what. But it's whether or not they can get the job done away from home that will really secure the semi-final. We have got there, go the Chiefs and go up the Wars, says Do Better, says Jake. Yeah, it's going to be an intriguing one. The Wars going head-to-head with the Panthers in the relatively near future. We'll be definitely keeping a close eye on that one. See how they end up going. We have got there, hi there, Kiwi Sue, hope you are well. And how's it, Hamish Craig is back from you know where? From St. Francis But of course, looking through, though, at the way that the URC is shaping up, the next round, the semi-finals, they are taking place next week. Currently, I believe that game is confirmed that it will be Glasgow versus the Bulls. Now, I don't know if they've got a designated time for that matchup as of yet. I'll just have a quick refresh of the URC website, see if they have put it in. No, they haven't just yet, but I believe those two sides will be playing each other. More than likely, the other will be Stormers versus Leinster, but because of Leinster being the higher qualifier, that game would be taking place in Ireland with the Stormers hitting the road. But if the Lions can upset Leinster at the Aviva, there is a chance that we could see either Cardiff versus the Lions in Cardiff or the Stormers versus the Lions in Cape Town. So it's not necessarily the end of home games for either of these two sides, really, depending on what the next result is that we do end up witnessing. We have got there, do you think Queensland will bounce back in game 2? They should do, mainly because of the fact that in the last 2 years of State of Origin, the team who's won the first game hasn't won the series. So more than likely, we should be 1-1 heading into the third with a little bit of luck between those two sides. You think the Cardiff players will cry when they lose today, says Xander? I don't know if there'll be tears out there. There'll certainly be fatigue because these two sides are going to go at a tempo that will be very hard to keep up with. Sasha, someone was rumouring that he wasn't even going to be playing in this game, but I don't know why they were rumouring that because he is in the number 10 jersey. Someone was saying he was sick, but that was like 5 days ago. So surely, or maybe just a couple days, but must have recovered because he's out there at the moment. We don't want Super Rugby outbursts on this thread, thanks, says Neo. Well, it's my channel, so I'll do what I want, thanks. We have got there also UEFA final, who you got? It's Arsenal PSG, right? I think that those are the two sides in it. I haven't watched any football this year, so I have no idea. I think one of them coming as the slight favourite, maybe PNG favourite? Or PSG rather than PNG, sorry. PNG's Papua New Guinea. I just want to take a second to say thank you for your amazing commentary, Mr. Kiwi Sir. All your unintentionally funny comments. And being so interactive is really awesome, Mr. Kiwi Sir. So yeah, says Tyler, do appreciate that. We have got their Glasgow favourites to win the URC or not. What do you think, says Kahu? If I say yes, will you stop asking it? Because that's about the 15th time that you've asked that, Kahu. And I'm nervous for today in the afternoon Thunder Spurs game in NBA. The Thunder, let's go Spurs. And Super Rugby missed the box. Depends on who you talk to. Some people do say that they missed them. Some people say that it works out quite nicely because, of course, the URC has now got the South African sides and we get to see them play in their own time zone, and it just has a lot less of the travel technicalities or difficulties. Those have mostly been smoothed out from joining the URC. We have got there, hey Hamish, what's your prediction? I'm thinking the Stormers bounce back quite nicely. Do you think you might watch some of the New Zealand versus England test? Loves the live stream, says Theo Farrell. I want to. We've done a little bit of test match cricket in the past. It will just depend on what overlaps with what, I would say. But they're only a few days away, aren't they, from starting up those test matches? I know that New Zealand were playing Ireland in a warm-up. We have I'm sorry, Hamish, we're just excited for the home semi. Says Kahu. This game 5 minutes away from the start. Let me know your score predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Who do you think will be able to cross the line first in this game as well? The Stormers, they look strong on paper, looking through at the benches for these two sides. They have got JJ Coetzee alongside Vernon Matongo and Zachary Porthen as their number 18. Selma Murat alongside Ruan Ackerman and Marcel Tennyson. So the 6-2 split here for the Stormers with Stephen Nkura and also Yuri Matia as that number 23. Looking through at the bench for Cardiff, it is Duff Hughes alongside Danny Southworth and Javan Sebastian. Now, we've seen Southworth get himself a few starts throughout the season, but they have decided Reece Barrett, maybe that is down to the scrummaging a little bit more there. Alan Lawrence alongside George Knott as the other forward replacements, and then Evan Lloyd, Ellis Bevan and Tom Bowen as the number 23. But they are just showing the starting lineups on the screen as we get closer and closer to the start of this contest. The Stormers come in as heavy favourites, even with that most recent victory for Cardiff. That was in Wales, though. This one, of course, taking place in South Africa. We have got there, I missed the South African teams in Super. They just add, or they should add Japan sides to Super, or some Asian sides, CSK Slade. And score predictions 23-20 in favour of the Stormers. And according to an advanced mathematical model tested in a lab by professors, this should be a high-scoring game. Oh, well, there you go. How high-scoring are they saying in the labs, Sander? For this one, go the Stormers, says Martin. And also Stormers 45, Cardiff 27. It's quite interesting, though, because the Bulls were less of a favourite than the Stormers are here. Now, at the opening odds, this is a little bit earlier, or just after the teams were announced. Cardiff were $5 underdogs. I believe they've popped up to about $6.40 now, which means that the Stormers have become even more of a favourite, close to the biggest favourite of the whole weekend, with the Leinster Lions game taking place a little bit later on. But whoever wins this is supposed to face Leinster or the Lions from the draw that I did see. How's the crowd there? It looks decent. I know that they got about 18,000 in the Loftus game. I think there'd be more than 18,000 here for this match in Cape Town. I reckon Anton's signature be in the ABs. There's also a rumour of Fehi staying in New Zealand. I think the rumour is true for Fehi. New Zealand Rugby seem to have blocked his overseas contract. So, like I've said multiple times, if they're blocking it, they better be giving him whatever he was going to be making going to play for the Red Bulls, or else, to block him and then not give him many opportunities for the All Blacks would be pretty poor on New Zealand Rugby parts. They banned me from the lab, so I couldn't get the final score. And also, we got the how long till kickoff, currently sitting with about 3 minutes until the two sides get underway in this third quarter final of the URC. Of course, that next one between the Lions and Leinster, that is kicking off in 5.5 hours' time. We will also be covering that one on the channel with the Lions play on Cape Town. If the Stormers win and the Lions win, that game would be in Cape Town. And then technically, if the Bulls... Did the Bulls finish? No, they finished just ahead. Never mind. I was going to say, pretty much the way that it sits, though, no matter what, the final cannot be a home game for the Stormers or Cardiff. No matter what happens in this game and their next semi-final, they can't get that home. What happened to the Water? Or Waratahs versus the Force. So in the end, the Waratahs, they did blow a lead by the sounds of it, and the Force were able to get themselves the win. I will also mention we're up to the quarterfinal stages of the sevens. We see South Africa, they are going head-to-head with Spain. Also alongside that, there is New Zealand versus Fiji is one of the quarterfinals, which will be an absolutely epic one. And Leinster versus Lions tonight, says Bart. And that game, we are also going to have the next play guys round again, which pretty much was that live prediction that we did throughout the Connacht versus Glasgow game. You have a chance of winning some URC merchandise if you do get the predictions right as the game goes on. So be sure to tune in for that stream as well. First try will be by Andre Hugo Fenta. Let the record show, says Xander. Is that offer rolling more, Xander, or just in general? Because it wouldn't surprise me if the Stormers, if they get an early penalty, they may look towards the corner. There was that 3 that they tried to take in the game up against Cardiff last time round, and that seemed to kind of kill their momentum. So I think they just have to go aggressive here. Know how strong they can be. At the end of the day, we'll show you the table in the way that it sits. And you can see here the Stormers, they have got that plus 160 for their points differential. Cardiff's plus or minus is minus 19. They are actually the worst points differential inside of the top 10. That just means that they either get themselves a relatively comfortable-ish to close win, or they get beaten badly. And unfortunately for them, they've had a few bad beatings throughout the URC, but they still seem to be able to bounce back every once in a while. We saw that in their game last match up against the Stormers. It's going to be an interesting selection for the ABs for the rivalry tour. Some important players are injured currently. Fabian Holland-Barrett and Will Jordan. Both of these sides just making their way out of the tunnel. Here comes Ruan Nel leading this side out onto the field. He is a phenomenal talent. Ruan Nel, one of those guys that definitely still doesn't get the credit he deserves. But he finds ways of creating opportunities for his backline. And every time he is out there on the field, you just feel like there's going to be that little bit of impact. You think Stormers would rather go for the line out or the scrum, or maybe they would go for the 3-pointers. That would be very defensive strategy. I think they'll go lineouts if they're a little bit further out. If they're 5 metres from the line, middle of the field, I think they'd go scrum. But then at the same time, 5 metres out, they may just say, we'll take the 3. Ruan Nel, first try scorer, says Jason for the prediction there. And Cardiff on the pitch now, says Bart. So are the Stormers. Referee in charge of this one is going to be Owen Cross. And who's captain for the Stormers? I believe it is Ruan Nel for this game here as well. Stormers look like the best team. 8.0 then this. Or 8-0 in terms of their wins and losses. But yeah, they're still here. That's the main thing. At the end of the day, if you make it to the semi-finals, Only 2 games. And that's all you need before you become champions. What does URC stand for? United Rugby Championship is the gist of it. Now, it looks like it is going to be Cardiff kicking this one off from right to left. I never know when it's best to go for the try or the 3. Yeah, it's a tricky one because playoff rugby, they always say take your points when they're available. But when you're at home and you're big, heavy favourites, taking 7s rather than 3s can just give you all the confidence in the world and just pretty much take you over the line. But the kickoff now for this quarterfinal as Johan Lloyd gets us underway. We're ready to go for quarterfinal number 3. Now tackled inside of the 22 for Damien Valimza. Looks like straight away Ahmad Khan is looking towards that box kick option. Where's Ruth? She may pop in a little bit later on. She may also be working though. Sergio Pedersen. We did see him make his way off the bench with a bit of a shoulder injury in the last contest. We did see early on in the game too, Thomas Ahern injured for Munster. Just don't want to see any sort of serious injuries coming out of this game for either side. This game should be on SABC. Hopefully, if it is 1 or 2 South African sides in the final, they do put it on free-to-air in South Africa. That would be the best case scenario. Now Damien Valimza has the ball about 40 metres out from his own line. Dan Duplessis, 2-man tackle from Cardiff, who are wearing that lilac pink coloured kit today. Stormers in their classic blue and white stripe. Ahmad Khan told to use it. Oh, he's going to have to hurry here. There's a player joined into the breakdown. On cross, giving him all the time in the world to be able to kick that one down towards the Cardiff 22. They've claimed it nicely. Now Cam Winnett passes across into the little bit of sun that we do see out there on the field in Cape Town Stadium for now. It looks like Paul de Villiers with almost an ankle lock of sorts as he was making that tackle. I'm going to start watching URC next season. What team should I support? That is completely up to you. If you're looking for a team with a few Kiwis in it, you can look towards someone like a Connacht or... which other teams have got the Kiwis in it? Josh Mackay, he plays for Glasgow. Now, this kick downfield. Now, knocked back by Sinatla. Loose ball, cleaned up by Ben Jason Dixon. Ahmad Khan trying to spin out of the challenge of Daniel Thomas. Rufus on Scott with Haino currently. Says Jason, although Haino will be making his way home from that Bulls game. He did go in person, so he'll be more than happy with the result that they just had. Ahmad Khan again, 40 metres out, goes for another up and under. Sinatla, getting up there nice and early. Currently got Sergio Pedersen on the mind after that last injury. Stormers, they've had a few of them in recent weeks too. Dion Foree, for instance. Man that did go down with the injury. A few changes in this back line as a whole. Some injury-based, some just changing based off form. Edinburgh Riley Higgins says Peanut Slab. Yeah, it's a big signing for Edinburgh. Oh, a big 2-man tackle on Kneeling for sheer. The ball's still there. And again, Ahmad Khan just signalling to Paul de Villiers that they are again kicking this one to the sky. Haven't been doing too bad with the chase. It looks like they're just going to make Sinatla chase after it every single time. Josh Adam looks for the offload. Goes back to Cameron Winnett. Tries to step. Paul de Villiers gets rid of him. Who's going to give this a thumbs up? Is Sasha there? He certainly is. He's completely fine. Was it you who was telling us that he wasn't playing Mujahideen because of being sick? But no, he's out there. He's looking rearing to go. This one kind of up by turn into almost a maul. Now rolling this one back again. Mulder decides, oh well, if Ahmad Khan's going for 4 box kicks, I might as well join in as well. Nice take there. Now Damien Valimza. Oh, Belcher's asking for the penalty. And he does manage to win it. He kind of flopped there, Belcher, but it has been effective, and the penalty does go the way of the Cardiff away side. Let's have 3 Kiwis. Says Jimbo, support the Stormers, but watch pretty much all other URC matches, says Bart. And the good thing is, if you're in New Zealand and you're looking to watch the URC, if you pay for the URC season pass at the start of the year, or at the start of the season, you get every single game, and if you are going to be watching all of them, it works out to be maybe like $1 and a bit a game. Whereas if you're doing like one-off matches, it can end up costing you quite a bit more. You know, I think a match pass is 20 New Zealand dollars for these playoffs. How many cards will Cardiff get? If Cardiff will get cards, they'll probably have a couple. Let's be honest. They'll have one in the scrum. They'll probably have one for discipline just out from their line. But the Stormers, they might get a yellow card too. Now short ball from Ben Thomas linking up the man on his outside. Now Mulder doing nicely to be able to avoid any sort of obstruction there. Tane Bash and Mulder with the inside pass. A missed tackle from both of them. Another offload here. Cardiff 5 metres out from the line. Paul de Villiers trying to get the turnover. Had one hand on it. Now moving away to the right hand side. Evan Ruiz rushed up, but he missed the tackle on Owen Lloyd. It's a big chance for Cardiff here. In a game that they are considered as the underdogs, and a big shot on Damien Williams' chin as well. Inside pass, and it's another offside advantage going against the Stormers. 3 metres from their own line, trying to rip it away for the Stormers. He's in off his feet as well, de Villiers, but he will do anything he can to slow that ball down and turn it into a penalty. That is now going to be the penalty to Cardiff, though. I spent a few years in Cardiff and married a Welsh girl, so it's going to be Cardiff says wafer. Stormers have kicked more than 5 minutes in the Bulls in their whole match against Munster. And the Glasgow match, as in second final, is in Mayfield. And now line out here for Cardiff. They have decided to go towards the corner, and the early penalty count is 2-0. Now line out, nicely thrown in. Good setbacks there. Mulder, that looked close to forward. In fact, it almost was, yes. Referee does rule it as such. There's been a lot of forward passes throughout this round of the URC as well as Super Rugby. But just throwing it a bit too far in the forward direction gives the Stormers a big opportunity for scrummaging inside of their 22. Stormers defence so far looks pretty bad. Not going to lie, says Kahu. And terrible, says Jimbo. Yeah, you can't afford to chuck a ball forward like that. I'm trying to think, Jimbo, were you here yesterday for the Connacht versus Glasgow game? Or not in the end? Because if you weren't, you're normally not too bad in terms of, I've said this to like 5 different people, but it's the regulars who I know are normally pretty handy with their predictions. But be sure to stick around for that Leinster Lions one later on, because you might be able to win like some URC merchandise by getting some things correct in terms of live predictions. We have got there now, watched it in the pub. Says Jimbo there, and go to the Stormers, says Craig, and Leinster are favourable. Win URC, I suppose, says Kevin. Now Ahmad Khan. I don't think the Stormers will have any other plan here but to try and drive over the top of the Cardiff forward pack. We saw the Bulls, the domination at scrum time up against Munster. They made it look very easy. Can the Stormers do the same? Josh Adams was a British and Irish Lions player. That is true. Okay, another stand up here for the two sides. And the referee already calling them over. And go MNR, Evan Ruiz, number 1, Aiden South Africa. And I don't know, the Stormers had a home quarter. Any chance of the home semi or final for the South African teams? Only if Glasgow lose to the Bulls. And then if Leinster win up against the Lions, then Leinster would also have to lose. Then it would be a all South African final in South Africa. That would be a home game for the Bulls. But every year of the URC, we've seen at least one South African side in the final. Of course, the Stormers would love to book themselves a spot through to that semi, to have the opportunity to advance there. As the ABs versus Stormers in the rivalry tour, yes, they do play every single South African URC side. Free kick goes the way of the Stormers. It's probably not a terrible result for Cardiff. I know that they would have considered themselves, a decent forward pack in a scrummage department. But if the Stormers got it right, they would have won a penalty there. You're better off having the free kick early on in the game rather than the early penalty count starting to pile up. So Shafane Bugumea Zulu, he puts that ball into touch. And it will now be the line out for Cardiff round halfway. And Stormers will score first. And when it's the final, says Mokhadeen, it is on the 21st of June, I believe. Or somewhere around there. Probably either the 20th, 21st, or 22nd of June. I think are the 3 potential days. But that weekend anyway. Now line out throw here for Liam Belcher. One's going to be nicely claimed by Cardiff. Johan Mulder goes away to Owen Lloyd. Now Ben Thomas moves it on. Rush defence there from Ruan. Now ended up missing the tackle. Luckily the second line of defence was still there. Evan Ruiz by trying to crawl through that breakdown. Ben Thomas tries a little grubber in behind. It's an awkward one, but Niling Fushia is the first man to get to it. And this is going to set up more than likely for a Amar Khan box kick once again, although they've tried to turn it into a rolling maul and the ball has been ripped right off him, slapping it back in the hands of Josh Adams on the halfway line for Cardiff. I can tell you right all, it's ripped forward in the tackle. Ripped forward in the tackle. That's a new one, isn't it? I always thought they had that situation how if it got ripped, it didn't count as a knock-on. They might be a little bit unlucky there, Cardiff, unless they're digging deep into the law book for that one. I'm sure we've seen a couple tries in internationals recently involving balls being ripped like that and then play on. Final in Cape Town, says Martin van Rensburg. Over there, Matty Levi is injured. Not sure what happened. But there's a huge loss for Aussie, says Jasmine. And also, when do South Africa tour New Zealand? They don't. Not for a wee while, anyway. Mustn't forget about the ref. They played crucial. One bad call could lose or win the game. Now, ball here for the Stormers round the halfway line. It's a big push in the advantage now for the Stormers. Evan Rush shut down early. Finds his offload up to Sanatla, who's put it down, but the penalty now awarded. Okay, so the penalty at scrum time, that is something that, of course, they do not want to be having too often whatsoever. So we go like that. And we will go like that. There we go. Oh, did Sasha get that one out? Yes, he did. 5 meters out from the try line. That is a brilliant kick from Sasha. It almost seemed like they weren't 100% sure. Whoever their final will be in Dublin or Edinburgh. I don't think Cape Town or Pretoria stand a chance, says Ben. Yeah, the only way it goes to South Africa is a South Africa versus South Africa final. There was someone complaining about a woman refereeing the under-20 University versus Japan under-20 game. Didn't New Zealand win both of those games comfortably, though? I always find it slightly poor taste when, well, for one, when people criticise the refs beyond the normal questioning of a decision, but then to do it when a game was won easily is a bit of a weird choice. That's a big rolling maul. De Villiers, he's dropped that ball just short of his own goal line. Cardiff under all sorts of pressure here. But do they want to kick this one downfield or do they want to go for the scrum? It looks like they're trying to get a couple phases first. And also we got the night, Hamish, have a good sleep. I'm going to sleep, says KC, so we will see you later on. And I showed just for this match, haven't showered in 3 days. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I assume that's supposed to be showered. So you showered just for this match. Apparently, they shouldn't be refereeing. They shouldn't be refereeing a men's game. Those are normally just the sexist ones who... Some of those people, they're pretty rough, to be fair. At the Women's World Cup, we heard all about all the different reasons as to why that shouldn't have been taking place. Yet they sold out the final at Twickenham. So, yeah. People are weird at times. Ben Jason Dixon, 12 minutes into this game. They are yet to score themselves the try, the Stormers, but that does not mean they won't. I think that this game just has a bit of a feel like it's going to be a real back and forth type of fixture. A few big moments throughout it as well, but Cardiff scrum will really need to hold its own ground. Because if they get driven backwards a couple more times, the referee starts to maybe get a little bit more likely to chuck someone in the bin. Try time Stormers, says Martin. And there as well. You think they're going to go for the drive over them? Try and go right over the top. To be fair, actually, that kind of could happen. I don't think it's completely out of the equation. I do like a good push. And more rest the better, says Peanut Slab. And Stormers are going to be epic next season. See if Khaleesi and Colby move back to the Stormers, says Kevin. And they've also got Wilco Lowe heading that way too. Which is a pretty substantial one. Do you drop the soap in the shower like the good old days, says Jason? I assume that question's towards Cool Story. Oh, there was almost a juggle with the ball there from Johan Malden. Yeah, penalty awarded to the Stormers here. They're only just out from the opposition line. And Kieran Azarati, the man, being penalised for that one. I heard the Springboks are in doubt for the number 15 in the future. Billy LaRue is getting older and replacement fewer. Any suggestions? I think they've still got plenty of options. I might end up listing a couple injured players, so of course take them out of the equation. But you've got Valimza, you've got Apalele Fasi, you've got Kewan Horn, not a bad young option with what he's been able to do for the Lions throughout this season. You've got even looking a little bit younger, it's someone like a Seyaya or maybe a Who else could you chuck in that equation for 15? Of course, you've still got the fullback on LaRue. You can even stick Sasha at 15 if you really wanted to as a bit of a combination. But I think there's still a few good options around, isn't there? We have got there, do I stay up to watch New Zealand get smacked by Fiji? It's a good question. If you wake up at 7 a.m., you can try and win some prizes on that Lions versus Leinster one. That could be an option. And Hornbest 15 or Bot 15 this season, says Ben. Now scrum feed, they'll look for a big shove here, the Stormers, I can guarantee you that. Brought down, told to use it here, Ahmad Khan. Passes out to the left-hand side, backline movement, Sasha looking for the cross kick, doesn't find the hands, no, it just bounces awkwardly. And Lilian Zas not able to quite clean that one up. It was a bit of a low skidder per se, and the way that ball was moving. Grecia Khaleesi old, but bring a lot of experience with the team, says Kevin. Wait to see whether or not they decide that they want to try and go quickly with this one here. 1 second, we'll go like that. And like that as well, but currently Cardiff, they decide to go to the back of this one. Nicely taken by Tane Basham. It's kind of a bit of an awkward height too for him, but hasn't done too badly, and another penalty this time awarded to Cardiff. Be able to get away from their own line. And 15 is Fassi, says Martin. Is he injured at the moment up in Lele Fassi? I can't quite remember whether or not because he hasn't been playing much for the Sharks. Has he poor decision by the ref? That's another scrum penalty. Says Jimbo, I'm going to Leinster versus Lions. I hope next week we play the Stormers. And it definitely could happen. That would be the top 4 then. Any ideas where about under 20 put in Test rugby? Is there any age restriction? I think you just have to be 18 to play international rugby, right? Sometimes they like to leave it a little bit later for certain countries just to, I guess, prepare the players. But you look at some of those under 20 boys, they're absolutely huge. You know, you look at someone like a Klakani. For the Lions, massive break to the line here, but Owen Lloyd just needs someone to link up with, but he wasn't quite able to find any of his teammates. But the ball is still there for Limsa. He looked like he was a little bit unsure about that one, but Paul de Villiers on the ball over it and manages to win the penalty for the Stormers, much to the crowd's excitement and a massive cheer for Paul de Villiers there. Now we have here their Lions will surprise everyone, says Julian. I'm just going to have a quick look too. The under-20s championship must be close, right? And we're talking only a few days away. Maybe a bit more. Maybe it's actually the week after. Oh no, it's actually 27 days away. I swear it was early June, but it's actually the 27th of June. I've got my days really wrong in that department. I thought it was coming up in the really near future. One hand is still beast mode. But yeah, Paul de Villiers, any breakdown. Might have one hand past the ball, but he eventually locked onto it. De Villiers there. I feel like that was split second, so he was fine. He was in a dominant position to take it. Cardiff have won 5 lineouts thus far in the game. They haven't won that one though. The Stormers have won their second. Sasha Fainboom, Zulu away to the left-hand side in the run forward from Paul de Villiers. Now Ahmad Khan. Sasha delays the pass. He's tackled well by Tane Basham. What do you think about women's rugby? Isn't it a little weird? No. What do you mean? Like, what about it do you find weird? Now, knock on from Josh Adams. It's going to be on the side of Andre Hugo Fenta and the rest of his side now. Quick hand short. Close to the sideline there for Ben Jason Dixon. Ahmad Khan back across again. Big collision with Andre Hugo Fenta. Can the Blitzbots still win the Spain Championship? They can. They have to beat Spain, though, to be a little bit more towards that chance. Valimza tackled low. Ooh, almost a knock-on the ground, but it is going to be 7 offside, so the penalty is awarded now to the Stormers. Sasha decides to take the quick tap. He's decided it was worth the risk. Now 10 metres out. That was a man almost cleaned out past the ball. Andre Smith on the short side, 10 metres out. Has this decision from Sasha been the right one? Should the Stormers have just set themselves and kicked towards the corner? Evan Russ, he tries to spin, but he is wrestled down again. Back across to the left on Tutuko Machunu. That man has scored a few tries as of late. He scored a double only a few weeks ago. Back across again here with Ben Jason Dixon still close to the line for the Stormers. 17 minutes into this contest. Nilen Fouchier is going to be dragged down again, just short. Evan Russ lurking right next to the breakdown. We know how dangerous that man can be close to the line. He's leading try scorer, or at least he was a couple of weeks ago. Ball bounces out for Ahmad Khan. It's picked up by Cardiff, and it's a breakaway. Lilion Sass trying to win the foot race. He makes the tackle, but Cardiff towards the corner. It will become the foot race, and Cameron Winnett will win that foot race and score the opening try for Cardiff in this game. That is one that has silenced the crowd completely. Career try 7 for Cameron Winnett, but they were only just out from the opposition line there, the Stormers. We're going to see, was it legal? Yeah, he just tried to pop it up, and then Ahmad Khan flicked it straight into the hands of the winger, Jacob Betham, who had brilliant, vision and also timing with that pass. If under-20s play Test rugby, are they allowed to play under-20s again? Probably not. They'd have some sort of rule around that side of things, I would think. It's tough sport, I guess, says Kevin. I actually know quite a few people who have decided, like they've half by given up on men's rugby, and there were a few that have now started following the women's rugby a bit more, definitely after that Women's World Cup. Just because they say it's almost more of that old school, like kind of open play type of style that a lot of people fell in rugby with from watching in the first place. We have their game on, Stormers, says Martin. They're coming, the Stormers. You cannot lose against the peak ones, really. Well, they are currently leading 7-0 here, Cardiff, in this case. We have there too many edits in the stat, sexist bigots. Yeah, we're not in the 1900s anymore. Like it's, yeah. Like, the Women's World Cup was absolutely phenomenal. I enjoy watching the Cricket World Cup too, to be fair. New Zealand, South Africa were that final, I want to say, the last time round. Now, this one's going to be kicked downfield towards that halfway line. Nice take from Damien Valimza under the high ball. Still going to be on the side of the Stormers, but they are now down in front of the home crowd. It won't sit well with the Cape Townians. They've still got a chance to get back into this game. Still only 20 minutes down. Now, Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu. Goes high with a kick. Sanutla trying to slap it back, but it is taken by Cardiff again with Owen Lloyd. So they've got to keep a close eye in terms of those breakdowns with the ability of Evan Russ, Paul Davillius, etc. Now, Kieran Azarati just dragged down again. This one's rolled back for Mulder. Hello, says Cool Story. Hello. How are you? One not going into touch this time for Cardiff, so the counter-attacking chance. It doesn't sit well with me either. I'm not Cape Townian, says Youngko. Oh, that one's going to be knocked on by Cameron Winnett. And a penalty awarded to the Stormers. Right. Now the decision needs to be made. Do you kick for the corner here? Or do you take on the 3? I think they have to kick for the corner. They have to go aggressive. I think the women's sevens. I'll be Canada versus New Zealand. We've got there. It's great that the women's rugby has grown, and we've had some exciting World Rugby World Cups too. Yeah, absolutely. Sasha kicks that one about, say, 10 metres out for that one there. Yeah, Cameron Winnett. Initially, it was not backed by Cardiff. And then from there, it just that little half knock on. 4 of the last 5 penalties have gone against Cardiff, all within the last 9 minutes. And terrible decision. None of those Stormers retreated, all offside. Now taken there by the Stormers, and they have got another advantage. That ball has dropped out. I think they knocked it on at the back. Yes, they did. Hamish, when do you sleep when all these matches are on? Appreciate all the match content. The easy answer is I don't. Normally, I'll try and get like an hour or 2 in somewhere in between. Like, I've got a gap between the next 2 games of maybe like I'll say 3-hour gap, somewhere around there. But then also, I've got the guys from Next Play coming early in the morning too. So they'll be showing up. So I can't really sleep for too long. I'll possibly even just end up staying up. We have got there a woman tackle me on the beach when we were playing rugby, says Cool Story. To all my fellow South Africans, I failed my learners twice already, and I'm rewriting next month. Any tips? Now, nicely taken there by Ruben van Heeren. And this one, bit of side shuffling going on with the rolling maul of the Stormers at the moment. Andre Hugo Venter does still have this possession. Someone's boot went flying. They're being told to use it. Cardiff just asked the question of whether or not they're allowed to go through the middle, which they have tried to. Going over the line here, surely Andre Hugo Venter gets it down, and he does. I believe it was him anyway. Oh, little bit of afters too there. But I think Hugo Venter was the man who should have been able to put that ball down. Evan Roos right up in the face of a few of the players. Though did he have the ball there, Evan Roos? I don't actually know who scored this try. It may have been Roos, but it also may have been Andre Hugo Venter. I think it's one of those two, though. So it was either Venter who managed to break away, or Roos may have taken it off him and then broken away. But either way, the referee is not having any of the shenanigans that both of these sides are having in terms of the push and shove after the tries have been scored. Giving them... Okay, the referee's just said that the point of the ball touched the line. They're going to get the TMO involved anyway to make sure that there was the grounding, but we can't have the players all coming in afterwards. Okay, they're showing Andre Hugo Venter. So he is the man more than likely who has managed to get this try here for the Stormers. Nothing clear to overturn from the TMO, so this try will stand, and it will make the score now 7 points to 5. And the Stormers have a chance to level it. And see, Cape Town Stadium is as empty as Loftus was. Not quite. I think they've probably got about 25,000 at Cape Town. I could be wrong, but they will show the attendance later on. But to me, looking at it, I think they've got a few more people in the stands for this one. That one has gone over from Sasha. And that is going to make the score after 24 minutes now 7-7 between these two sides. We're going to see it there, Andre Hugo Venter. Oh. Well, tell you what. That angle didn't show a try being scored by Hugo Venter. They must have slowed it down more for the TMO. Because that was about 6 inches short for Andre Hugo Venter. With the... Maybe right when he first snapped towards the line, there must have been a slight touch of the ball on the line. Who scored it was Andre Hugo Venter. I managed to get that one. Are you doing the Blitzbox game? No, because it is overlapping with this game. Nicely taken there by Damien Valimza. Where is the try evidence? Yeah, it didn't look like much of one, but maybe it must have been somewhere you'd have to assume that they didn't feel the need to overrule it. Now, Ahmad Khan. He didn't quite get the try. South African commentators being quiet. One of them actually did say he didn't see any sort of grounding there, but knock on from Ahmad Khan. I'll go back now for the scrum. And did have scored the first try for the Stormers, like my model predicted. The first try was scored by Cameron Wynn at the 15 for Cardiff. And someone did predict Andre Hugo Venter. Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. But it was Stormers' try or first try overall. And can you sing for the Blitzbox to win? Probably not. They should win anyway. They're up against Spain. They have beaten Spain a lot of times in the past. Okay, the commentators are still going on about that try. And yeah, it's definitely one that I'd like to see in slow-mo, which hopefully they'll show us at halftime. But either way, it stands and it has moved on from there. There's not a try nowhere near. How could the ref miss that? Yeah, on-field was try, which was the big one. Then that is another scrum penalty won by the Stormers side. And Azarati just having those legs slip out from underneath him. And typical Stormers always cheating. So here's Aino, and what the actual, how was that a try? The only thing I can think is that first, there was an initial push towards the line from Andre Hugo Fenta, and then the ball came back. It happened very quick, and they seemed to slow-mo once he had, and then this part where he pulled it back was slow-moed. So I feel like that may have just been the TMO not getting the timing of the slow-mo right. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but yeah, without that first bit being slowed down, it did look like he was about 6 inches short. Do you rate Ahmad Khan as a 9? He's not too bad. He can make some silly errors every once in a while, but can't hold that against him. Most 9s do, don't they? Now, line out here for the Stormers. Stormers cheated on my aunt. What a great game by the Bulls, though, says Haino. Now, taken on the short side. Now, very close to the sideline for Andre Hugo Fenta. Now, Ahmad Khan, Ben Jason Dixon. He's tried to go for a risky offload. There's another penalty, though. And a double blow of the whistle here. And Great Mohadeen says, Haino there. Some penalties coming in for the boys. Yeah, Cardiff have now given away 8 penalties throughout the first 27 minutes of this game. If they are not careful, someone will be taken off of the field. Okay, Liam Belcher has just been warned as the captain of this Cardiff side. More down here. People are going to go to the bin. How could a TMO miss that? The ref, yes, the TMO saw it, so Beach. As for the TMO, Sasha again is going to be kicking this one towards the corner for the Stormers. And also, Stormers go-go, says Marlon. Have to pick between Khan and Pede. Pede probably still needs more time. The Lions haven't given him a lot of chance this year, but now that Morne Vandenberg's injured, I mean, if they did somehow make it further, he might get more of a chance, but it'd be nice to see him play a bit more than he has been, Hassim Pede. 5 metres out from the line, Andre Hugo Fenta gets the call there from Untatuko Machunu. They're going in. Nice take from Ben Jason Dixon. Untatuko Machunu. He bulldozes his way over the line. We've talked about it, how strong that man can be, but there was a set player beauty there from the Stormers. He was like a train that had just left the tracks. You weren't going to be stopping him, Untatuko Machunu. And Korea tries 11. I don't know how many he's got this year, but it's quite a few. This is not straight. Go on now, like Coke on. And also excellent try, says Jumbo. But yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to tackle. Imagine if you're the halfback for Cardiff and you're standing on your line and you see Untatuko Machunu running at your full tilt. You'd almost be smarter to just step aside, wouldn't you? That one has gone over, though, and the Stormers now lead this contest 14 points to 7 off the try of Untatuko Machunu. But he took off in that situation. Now ready to get straight back into the work here. The Stormers want to go back-to-back. As we're so disappointed, says Kahu. Now 30 minutes gone. As well, rugby fans don't want Cape Town final. Such called spoil rugby final must be in Edinburgh or Dublin with objective neutral refs and TMOs, says Ben. Although, fun fact, there is no way for the game to be in Cape Town. No matter what happens, according to the draw that I saw, which has it that Glasgow will be playing the Bulls. It means that no matter what happens, whoever wins that game is still a higher qualifier than the Stormers. So they can't actually have it at Cape Town no matter what. And hi, Hamish, there's Daryl, welcome in. Even Russ. Having a little handling error there. It was initially Sanatlu went up for the ball, but Winnett did nicely. When the aerial challenge, hi, Hamish, says Daryl. I don't like pointing fingers, but all fingers are pointing to the ref. And what Bulls play fourth place, Stormers third, says Kahu. Though it was the other way around, wasn't it? Oh, no, sorry, my apologies. Yeah, sorry, Stormers can be high. Sorry, I always thought that the Bulls managed to get enough, but the Stormers got that bonus point in Cardiff, didn't they? And that was the one that stopped the Bulls, even if they got a bonus point. I got that round the wrong way. My apologies. But now, I think the Bulls could win it. They are the informed team, says Irish Mick. As the game, or is the online game on today? It will be for the later game, for Leinster versus Lions. We are going to have the next play guys back around. It's going to be their last live stream of the weekend, so they may put in some bigger prizes. I think they were going to potentially have a couple participation prizes too. So, yeah, if you guys are keen for that, be sure to pop in for Leinster Lions. Even if you answer a few questions near the end of the game, you could finish high enough, get yourself some URC merchandise. Oh, that one. The scrum is going up. I know, and I say this a lot, but potato is such a fun word, and sea lions are super cute, says Tyler. As always, need to roll forward like that legendary, say, wind cloud over over Table Mountain. So we're at the final. Predetermined stadium like IPL. The highest ranked team gets preference. Highest rank gets preference for the URC. What is your prediction for Leinster Lions? I'd like to think the Lions would do all right, but at the same time, Leinster will be fired up. Last time they lost a game in the Champions Cup, they went in and beat a side by 60-plus points. Now, of course, that was Zebra, so you could argue that was because they were facing Zebra, but yeah, it'll be a tough game for the Lions. Or it will be a very tough 2 weeks for Leinster. It would be great if the Stormers can beat Leinster, but highly unlikely if it was Cape Town Stadium. Not in Dublin. Bulls versus Glasgow at Edinburgh 50-50. Now Ahmad Khan. Scrum has been fed and the Stormers are trying to push for Kieran Azarati. He's been stood up again here in the scrum. Even Rush shut down by 3 players of Cardiff. Double blow of the whistle here, and referees reaching into the pocket for the yellow card at scrum time, needling for Shear. Told to stop firing up the opposition front row. But Azarati, he will be taken off the field. Their scrum's just not working whatsoever. Now Sasha Feinberg, Zulu, he's looking for distance here. He has slipped over in the process. Still gets it into touch about 22 metres out from the opposition line. Azarati will not be happy one bit. You see Andre Ugofenta, he ends up face-to-face with Kieran Azarati and just kind of looks at him with disappointment, as if to say, come on, we were trying to give you a bit of a shove and you just stood up straight away. But now the Stormers, this is a good position. 14 men up against them too. We've already seen Andre Ugofenta as well as Ntotoko Machunu as the 2 try scorers. He's going to be the next one. Line out is strong. I'll try and get this rolling maul going in the right direction here. It's Andre Ugofenta with it at the back. Does anyone know when the Bok play again? They play up against the Barbarians late June. Or about the 20th of June, I think it is. Now almost going for the back line, but it's then Dan Duplessis will hit it up himself. Ahmad Khan moves it on to Sasha Feinberg. Zulu can't quite get through. The challenge of Cardiff could have been an advantage. In fact, it is now going to be. Evan Russ held up by Cardiff. They seem to be very much so targeting to stop their man, Ben Jason Dixon, dragged down 5 metres short, looking for the turnover, and the breakdown was Belcher. He was told to get out of it. Now back across to Ugofenta. There's Ruiz with him. Cardiff. Same advantage. Says the referee. Now Sasha pops it in mind to absolutely no one. They lose about 15 metres. They're still almost getting this back line going, though, the Stormers. So the referee playing a lenient advantage in their favour just to see whether or not the attack was coming. Now it will go back for the original penalty. Anyone over there watched the recent tourno with the under-20 Bockies? If we're talking about the under-20 Rugby Championship, then yes, we did cover a few of those games on the channel. But then the warm-up games, or the friendlies, up against Fiji, Georgia, and Chile, I think, were the other opponent. We didn't get to see those in New Zealand, sadly. But I saw some pretty one-sided scorelines from those ones. What I am happy to see, though, is the fact that Ethan James is going to be back roughly in time for that under-20 competition, because he is an absolute freight train. That try that he got in the under-20s game up against Argentina was absolutely insane. But the penalties are mounting up here. The Stormers are leading by 7. I'd like to think we're not going down the route of going for 3-pointers as of yet. Yes, that one was one-sided, yes. The Rugby Championship one or the friendlies ones? Because, yeah, I saw some pretty brutal scorelines in the friendlies. I think Chile did almost as good as Fiji did. Seen balls spraying or spying on Zebra last year. You might have, or ask, have I got proof? I do. I was the spy, says Irish Mick. Ethan James is my dad. Oh, did I say the wrong last name? I was thinking about it for a while, and I was like, is it Adams or James? And I remembered I kept on saying Eddie James, and then I was getting it wrong because I thought that it was instead Adams. But yeah, Ethan Adams rather than James. I did it all throughout the tournament as well. But I kept on, there's a Welsh player with a name, I think I was calling him, what else was I calling him? I think I was getting the last name and the first name wrong at times. But yeah, he did hurt himself in that under-20 championship. In the friendlies, says Sargent. And same as last match, last 10 minutes of the first half, killed Munster Cardiff now. Says Jimbo, definitely with the man disadvantage for another 8 minutes at this point in time. Hugo Fenter clearly grounded the ball. The TV replay didn't show the angle, but you can see it clearly because TV shows what the TV producer wants us to see, says Xander. But yeah, there was a motion before the ball was pulled back. I mentioned about it at the time, how it looked like if it was real time, there was that, and then in the slow-mo replay, it showed that bit where he was bringing the ball back away from the line. So I think they just got the replay slightly wrong, but the TMO must have already checked it. And you got to give benefit of the doubt to these officials. You'd assume they are quite decent at their jobs. Big scrum here for the Stormers. Both up, take it away, says the referee, and that is exactly what Imad Khan is going to do. Sasha with the short ball to Ruan now, and he's been turned over, and he's been held up too. He all but managed to score it. He did all the hard work. He broke the line, but he just couldn't quite get the rotation of the body right to be able to ground that ball. Ethan Adams, says Terrence in there. Yeah, I think I kept on calling him Ethan James. No, I kept on calling him Idiot. No, it was something like that, but I kept on getting it round the wrong way. We have a new problem here in South Africa. Scalpers from European countries trying to get our schoolboys go to their clubs, mainly from France, says Sargent. 5 minutes remain in this first half here. It looks like the goal line dropout now for Cardiff. But they'll go for, you got to go long down the field, don't you? Yes, you might be susceptible for a bit of a counter-attack from the Stormers. They've got it down to 40 metres out, and now the Stormers charging forward with Balimza. Beautiful offload, and Lelion Zas running down the wing. That was a bit too easy. Poor defence. Called him Eddie Jones. Not quite, no. There was no Jones involved that I know of. But that is a brilliant try down the wing for Lelion Zas. He had a man in front of him who seemed like he was going to be able to make the tackle, but he just bumped him off, dropped the shoulder, and Valimza, you could always see the mind was ticking over here. As soon as he saw the two players, he knew that there was a way that he could lure in both. But yeah, Cam Winnett just bumped off by Zas completely to get the try in the corner. We have you there. I'm a bit late, but okay, I'm here. Keep it up, Stormers, says Herbert. A chance to be able to go towards the corner. Am I right or wrong? South Africa has never bought players from other countries to fill the Springbok rugby team. I don't think they've bought them. They have had players from different countries represent South Africa, but it's one of those ones that get really, really ugly in terms of the people on social media when they start nitpicking at where different players are from. So it's one of those ones that you're better off not going down that rabbit hole, if that makes sense. It's just much better that way. Now, what an offload. And we have got there, so you think the French can win the World Cup next year? We're talking the Rugby World Cup, I assume. They'll have a decent chance. They've got a good side. Or at least should have a good squad by then as well. What's the score at the moment? The score is 21-7 in favour of the Stormers. One's going to be kicked off long by Owen Lloyd. One of our best players, Beast, was from Zimbabwe, says Neville. Now rolling this one back. Do you think South African teams leaving Super Rugby has helped or not? I think that's another one that depends on who you talk to. Because, it's a sliding tackle. Because you also got to look at the players. Straight away, New Zealand, for instance. After that World Cup was probably when they felt the biggest absence of the South African sides in Super Rugby because they lost all of that experience to Japan and a few other guys going up to France and whatnot. But, sometimes you just got to admit, at the moment, South Africa's player pool is very deep, And, sometimes it's not so simple as just teams have left, so that means that these sides must be weaker now. Sometimes it's more to do with the players who are coming through. New Zealand are still waiting for their next Dan Carter, their next Richie McCaw, whereas the Springboks currently have about 10 or so guys that you could really consider in terms of top 10, top 5 of all time in certain positions. So it's all about the wider picture than just yes or no, has it impacted the comp? But I think some people miss them. That one's going to be kicked downfield for Johan Mulder. Now, nice take from Damian Willemse. So cool to hear the Beast, or when Beast got the ball, everyone shouted Beast. Yeah, I don't think any other rugby player has had that, have they? In recent times, that's a nice kick. Although, actually, no, that's a lie. Pierre Schoeman gets it a little bit, but not quite to that same level. We have there, except the number 15 lineup. Are they looking at under 20 players? Says Riako. That's a good kick of mine from Imad Khan. It just goes over the head of Cameron Winnett. He's having a hard day at the office at the moment. And actually, you get sick of all of this South Africans and the big talk up of the Springboks. I've probably gotten used to it. I'd say that because I have that mutual respect for South Africa and what they've been able to do, I probably tolerate it more than some do. Purely because some people... But then that's also because I'm neutral, so I don't really mind. If a player's good, I don't mind if someone, talks about them a little bit. Some people get repetitive, but I feel like you get that with everything. Splash TV, he's probably here at the moment. He said 4-0 for the upcoming series 57 times in the past 2 weeks. But you get that, Currently the crowd, they look pretty, I wouldn't say full, but decently packed. Well, this contest, I'm hoping they are going to show the attendance in the second half just to see the comparison with the other quarterfinals thus far. But 40 seconds remain here in the first half. The score is currently 21 points to 7. Blitzbox 17 to the 8. Oh, sorry, yeah, that's the time that their game is roughly happening, isn't it? 1 second. We'll go like this. I think New Zealand are about to play Fiji. In the 7th, they're 8 minutes away for that contest. That'll be a good one. Andre Hugafenta, though, with the lineup, they are inside of the opposition half. Evan Ruiz pops it up now to Andre Hugafenta. Gets the fend in to get away from Barrett. Now, left-hand side, Ahmad Khan. That's a big shot on him. If the Stormers score now, this game could almost be over. Paul de Villiers just can't quite link up with his teammates. Onto the ball, Ben Thomas, and wins the penalty. They just missed the clean-out. In fact, it was Daniel Thomas instead. We have there very humble, Brew. We keep you when you tour South Africa. We might keep you when you tour South Africa. You need to email me for a spot to stay close to Cape Town, says one Pierre Bosch. I don't think it will be this year that I get to go to South Africa. I'd like to go within the next 5 years, though. Although I have been saying that for the past 2 years. So I guess I should say the next 3 years. But it is halftime in this contest now, ladies and gentlemen. And the score is going to be 21 points to 7. How's your wife, Hamish? I don't have one of those. Not that I know of, anyway. But slightly making moves in that department. Not to the stage of a wife, but at least talking to someone of the opposite gender, sex. I don't know what one the word is that you're supposed to use in that scenario. I'm talking to a woman. Here we go. We have there Cardiff still in it. Says Haino. Who has scored so far? Lelion Zas. We're seeing Andre Hugafenta and Untatuku Machunu. I'm sure some South African girl will claim you. One of those, Hamish, says Joe. Yeah, I've got a way with words, don't I? And, but you don't get tired about aunties, do you, says Cool Story. There's a tournament coming up. 6 northern teams versus 6 southern teams. Imagine New Zealand beats South Africa in the World Cup. Might ignite a whole new level of internet fallout, says Xander. Is that like the rugby side of things? Yeah. The thing is, rugby social media in terms of Facebook's the worst that I've found. But, like, yeah. No matter what happens in that next World Cup, it's going to be, like, brutal on the social media side of things. No matter who wins it, no matter who loses it, it's going to be a brutal 4 years. And all go Kiwi lad, says Jasmine there. Rev Hamish admitted he got a girlfriend, says Joe. And also we have got nobody knows which words to use anymore. Don't worry about it, mate. Congrats on the progress, says Youngco. We have got there, never known you as a side chosen whoever played guy. You have always been just a placid commentator, and we do love your commentary because of that. Thanks for your hard work and persistence. Don't let them trap you, bro, says Henny. Why was our last try not given? For the Bulls, right? You know how I keep on telling you that my memory's really bad? I can't remember what the last try was in that Bulls game. Talking to a woman that's not family is always a great feeling, says Xander. Couldn't agree more. I go back and read my Zimbabwe comment, Hamish. One moment, where are you, Irish? I know that I was wondering about Leinster. That's not that one, is it? Zimbabwe, my pick to beat Ireland in the final next year. I'm in bookies now, put €1,000 on it. Wait, in the final of the World Cup, right? Hamish, I might not tune into Kiwi lads for a World Cup because of the chat getting too heated, says Cool Story. That's fair enough. I think there might be quite a few people around during that World Cup stage. We have to stay off the girls, Hamish. She may make you miss some commentary, says Joe Man. I don't think so. I feel like I'm still, like, this weekend I've done all the streams that we were going to. But, yeah, never mind. I was thinking back to the last time, a few years ago. That was a bit of a balls up with the old what streams do and what ones not do. We have got the unless we don't have DSTV. And how long is there still left at halftime? Probably about 10 minutes or so. I got a little while before it does get underway. We're seeing it there, just trying to get that rolling maul going initially for the Stormers in that first half. And it was working effectively. It was obstruction, Aino, says Mohaddin. Jazz the best. Things get heated, says Xander. And we didn't see a single card in the entire Munster Bulls quarterfinal, correct? I think, yeah, we were good in that one. Where are you from? How do I say your name? So my name is Hamish. From New Zealand. Very Scottish name, but not really actually Scottish, I don't think, other than maybe like way back down. But, yeah. I actually learned the other day how one of the other Kiwi lads got his name. And that was because they were driving to the hospital and a transport company had a van in front of them and they actually had his name on it. So they decided, oh, well, that was one of the shortlisted names, so we'll go with that. African or New Zealand? From New Zealand. So it is currently 2:25 a.m. here. So a bit of a brutal time to watch a game of rugby. By the way, to the new people here, you know the Box has won the World Cup the most and it's the greatest team ever. Ducking away from stuff being thrown at me, says Sargent. But anyone who loves a good prediction, ladies and gents, I will say, be sure to tune in for Leinster versus Lions. We have been doing a little bit of a trial with some guys from Next Play as their brand that they've created. They are out of Auckland University here in New Zealand. Pretty much, you give your predictions of what's happening throughout a game. If you get it right, you get awarded points. You get onto a leaderboard that is being shown on the screen throughout the live stream, and then they give you our prizes if you are sitting number one. So we've seen Fleshin win one. We saw someone called High in the last one. And then also in the first ever one, it was Vic Mars who was able to get it. But it is the last one of the weekend that they are going to be joining us for. They've flown down to Auckland to be here. They set it up in my lounge. So, yeah, if you guys want to take part in it, it would be greatly appreciated, mainly because they are just trying to work out how to make it better. So they need as much feedback as they can get. And the more of you guys that join, the bigger the prizes that you guys will be winning. So it seems like a pretty good option, really. We have got the I'm Irish. Not that I gave it away. My father used play for Irish football team, Mick McCarthy. So here's Irish Mick there. And Mick McCarthy made Ronaldo look like a baby on the pitch. Are you going to take that as a little clip and then you're going to send it to your dad? We have you there. Yeah, the Lions are hitting way above them. Teams doesn't have the funds, but they make it work. And this time on Saturday in South Africa, just realised Brandy starts talking, says Big B. And is there more than one Kiwi lad? Yeah, there's actually 4 of us, believe it or not. But, the thing is, it was the Kiwi lads back before the rugby side of things. There were 4 of us. Tell you what, we'll show you. How do I do this? I'll find a picture. And I'll give you the kind of Kiwi lads story while we're at halftime. I'll make it quick, don't worry. I'm not going to bore you to death with it. But how do I use my phone? 1 second. People, that's me. What one do we want to show you? Okay, I'm not finding many pictures. Christchurch, that'll be where I can find one. Anyone who is tuning in now, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Right, so you won't be able to see it too well. Definitely not if it's that blurry. Come on, it can do it. It can do it. Please. Can you tell which one's me? How do I get it to focus? It's like looking right at it. Right, well, I'm the one with the hat on. Then George is next to me. In fact, the one by himself next to me is Daniel. George is in the middle. Isaac on the end. It's not a blurry photo. But, yeah, the 4 of us. So we did start off not doing rugby-related stuff. But then now it's just rugby and a little bit of sport. And then, do you win anything, Hamish? No. If I was going to finish first, I was going to just make it so that whoever was second would end up getting the prize. But I should also mention, it's not actually like a sponsored deal or anything. I'm having them on the streams, getting to do it all for free. So the more you guys that play, the more prizes you guys win. So really, it's more incentive that to get more of you guys some merchandise and whatnot while they're doing the trial. Like, we've got to get more people in there so that they give away more prizes, you know. We have you there. Please give a summary of the game so far, individual performances, flow of the game, etc. So the Stormers have been dominant in terms of territory. Cardiff had some very decent early moments, but the scrums have been getting damaged. And we've already seen Kieran Azarati make his way off the field from that yellow card. The Stormers, Ntatuka Machuno, Andre Hugo Fenta, both scoring off set plays on the line out. And then a bit of open play for Lelion Zas down the short side as well led to try number 3. Keep up these streams, buddy. Really good to be able to follow the game whilst on the move. Next year, Springboks will get their 5th World Cup. Says Darton there. And also show us you're one of those. Or show us you're one of those. The girlfriend. No, I couldn't do that. Well, because I don't officially have one yet, you see. There's still work that has to be done. Are you allowed to win a try is scored? You push a button, end. You hear a crowd cheer. I actually have one somewhere. Hang on. I've got this one. Could have that. It's a little bit of a tricky button to find. There's also, you know, if I say something funny like, what's a good funny joke? I don't want to offend you. I was going to say Munster's performance. And it laughs. Or, yeah, get the boo going. But those are the buttons that I've got on my one, but they're hard to find. I like your stream. It's all good fun and enjoying commentary. You're a cool dude, says Irish Mick. Thank you very much. That's greatly appreciated. My mum is 79, her birthday. Will you be her stripper for her 80th party next year? I pay you a Guinness. In Ireland, we have to consider. We have there currently looks like 2-0 for South Africa, says Henny. And tell us again, please, who scored the 3 tries. Untutuku Machunu, Andre Hugo-Finta, and also Lelion Zas. But yeah, Andre Hugo-Finta was the first try scorer for the Stormers, I should mention. Also the try for Cameron Winnett. That was the first ever one. So that sounds as awesome. Says Rico there. The boo sound must be played when someone blames the ref. Give me an Irish joke. My Irish accent is pretty much a joke in itself. Are you not going to watch New Zealand versus Fiji? Well, sadly, it's all overlapping this weekend, but we are going to be doing the semi-finals, so whoever wins that one we will be covering. But I can give you an update on Fiji versus New Zealand as they have just got underway, and George Balsey scored the early try for the Fijians. And we have there how much time left at the halftime? About probably 25 seconds. So we are probably, we're not far off the second half. Okay, I'll book you pay own flights. Okay, so I get a couple glasses of Guinness to fly halfway around the world to strip for your 79-year-old mother. Dear, no. Sasha Fane Bergen Zulu really to kick this second half off. Thanks, Hamish, we're too busy. Or we was busy. So not being tuned in all the time. And New Zealand getting smacked. And now Sasha kicks this one off. And we are ready to go for the second 40 minutes here. As Under-20 World Cup on, how's Ireland doing? Not quite. Starts on the 27th of June. I actually thought it was starting up next week. But I got my dates very wrong. The one has been put into touch though. And it looks like Cardiff knew that they were considering the quick throw. So they had to rush up to try and shut it down. Stormers with the 14-point lead and also a man advantage for the next 80 seconds. So they've got 5. I will also mention Marcel Tennyson has made his way onto the field. Who is that actually for? Looks like Paul de Villiers is still out there, and so is Ben Jason Dixon. I would say Marcel Tennyson's out there for Evan Ruiz, if I had to guess. But hopefully someone will be able to let us know. Is that a change that they have made, ladies and gentlemen? 1 second, I'll go. Oh no, Ruiz, that was just the name Ruiz that was said. Where is he? No, Evan Ruiz is still out there. Who's that for? That must be for one of the locks, I guess. Marcel Tennyson. Andre Smith still out there. Must be for Ruben van Heeren. One's going to be kicked into the touch there. Nice take from Sasha, who decides to take the throw quickly. HIA for Ruben van Heeren, is it? Now Ruiz, low tackle, pops it up. Oh, Dan du Plessis got an injured knee here. He looked like he was trying to run on it and it was not working. He's now grasping at that leg. I don't think he's 100% here, Dan du Plessis. And have to go and prepare food now for tomorrow's big braai. Do you make money during the commentary? If so, let's do double act. We'll be rich. Says Irish Mike. So the channel is monetized, but the way that I always talk about it is any money that's made from the channel pretty much just goes straight back into the channel, buying URC TV subscriptions, Sky Sports subscriptions, streaming software subscriptions, editing subscriptions and everything like that. That one's going to be a knock on. Oh, a little bit of pushing there from Evan Ruiz and Johan Mulder too. And quarterfinals just the warm-ups. The semis will be the big ones. But not moving away. Penalty goes against. It looks like Evan Ruiz there. New Zealand, you suck. You're getting smacked. And good rolling on your R's in your Afrikaans pronunciation. Says Mill Bay. Now this one kicked into touch. I see it now though. Just going up for that ball. I'm still looking for what Dan du Plessis did. It seemed like he was almost hurt before he even went into the collision. Cool, will you buy my subscription, says Irish Mick. You think I should put it down as a channel expense? What I should do is try and convince the Pulse or the Next Play guys that the main price should be a URC TV season pass, but then I don't think you can watch it in all countries, so that's probably not actually a good idea. But it will definitely be URC merch for that next live stream. Owen Lloyd kicks it in behind. Tell you what, Cameron Winnett tries to get the ball, but can't quite. Damien Valimza. Oh, what's wrong with Damien Valimza? He's angry. What's he angry about? I assume his teammates. Oh, yeah, nah, he doesn't like his team at the moment, Damien Valimza. He's saying he shouldn't have been the guy who had to go back there and get it. To be fair, he kind of was closest. You are Kevin Manmick. 44 minutes through in this contest. Yeah, Valimza absolutely livid at his teammates there. Back to the full 15 on the field now for Cardiff. Again, I expect the New Zealand men's team. They're currently down 12-0 at half-time by the looks of it. Taria Vailawa getting the last conversion. Baluma and Bolsi scoring. And Stormers should get the job done, in my opinion. So here's Anthony. Now, referee watching the scrum very closely. Azarati will feel like he is underneath a microscope at the moment. Go slot on that chin, mate, says Reiko. Now, Mulder, oh, big scrum collapse, breaking off the back. They're over the line here, Cardiff, and they score with Tane Basham, who stands up and looks straight at the crowd. And that will put them back to 7 down. So tight they would pay for their own funeral wedding, or would not pay for it. And Miles has said hi. I'll come in. Marnus is here too, and I'm laughing, otherwise I will cry, says Jasmine, in terms of that New Zealand versus Fiji scoreline. But a good finish from Basham, running over the top of Ahmad Khan. A good step initially, slamming that ball down. Cardiff just don't quite want to give up in this contest here. It looks like they have got an injury though, so someone's legs may have given up on them. I think that was from the first scrum. Now, important kick for Owen Lloyd. He's got 14 seconds on the shot clock. More importantly, Cardiff still have 15 men out there on the field. And Owen Lloyd just gets it straight down the middle. As in Basham a Kiwi. Tane Basham, maybe. Or Tane Plumtree is, initially. I think he's a Kiwi boy. I'm not sure about Tane Basham, though. I can't quite remember. Yes, South African teams to win again, says Pet Life. Okay, Azarati's actually the man injured at the moment here, so he got on for his first scrum. So he is going to be taken off again. That is going to be for Javan Sebastian. And Jimbo, you must have a lot of money hidden, says Irish Mick. Yeah, Sebastian is now on. Change being made relatively early, but that is injury-based rather than strategic. Got to remember that the Stormers, they have got that 6-2 split. They'll be looking to use every bit of it. Who's the referee clap? Oh, he's clapping Azarati as he makes his way off the field. I was confused. The ref was just randomly clapping. But we're back underway. Sasha kicks off long. He's disappointed with it. You can see it straight away that he wasn't 100% sold on how he connected with that ball. Being told to use it there for Johan Mulder. And that one's come off the side of the boot as well. So he's not happy with his kick. So both sides having moments where they feel like they haven't quite connected with the ball how they would have liked. At 14 points to 21. It's going to be an intriguing finish. I should mention in about 4.5 hours, ladies and gentlemen, we have got our next live stream. In fact, it's actually closer to 4 hours now. And that is going to be the match taking place between Leinster and the Lions. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Try scoreless for the Stormers. Second half so far scoreless. They have got themselves, though, the 3 tries of Untatuko Machunu, also Andre Hugo Fenta, and then also the try for Leleon Zas. Now, rolling maul here, working nicely. It looks like the ball's popped onto the side of Cardiff. But the advantage has become the penalty. What I love about you, Hamish, you have hundreds of people watching you live, commenting on your vocal and body language. You handle it like a pro, Hamish for president. Says Reiko. Yeah, I've kind of got used to it in a way. Like, you're going to always have the bad ones in there alongside the good ones. But I always think of it as I would rather have it that people are, like, taking digs at me rather than other people in the chat, if that makes sense. Like, I'd rather be the target of the insult than, like, someone who's watching. Does that make sense? I hope it kind of makes sense. I might go to bed. New Zealand sucking butt, says Jasmine. And don't lose this game, Stormers. We want to see you in the semi-final, says Herbert. And who are the try scorers for the Stormers? It was Untutuku Machunu, Andre Hugo-Fenta, and also Leleon Zas. But the line-out throw, nicely taken there by the Stormers. Again, in a big engagement. Cardiff committing early. Was it too early, though? No, they've been told to use it once. This ball looks like it's well and truly tied up here. The Cardiff side are not letting it out of their sight. And that one becomes the scrum feed now in favour of Cardiff. Sort of making sense, mate, says Reiko. And come on, Cardiff, says Hayno. I find the Stormers are 50-50 team. Good Sundays. Then lost Connacht at home. Didn't see that coming. Says Irish Mick. Turn my back and Cardiff has scored. They like to strike you when you turn your back like a python with no respect. Says Xander. Nothing worse than a disrespectful python, I have to tell you. Luckily, we don't have pythons in New Zealand. Do you have pythons in South Africa? You have snakes, right? Referees just said that something was a fair point that the Stormers have made. Now, the thing is, Cardiff are not out of the woods here because they have a 5-metre scrum just out from their try line. This is the type of zone that the Stormers absolutely love to be in. And we'll look to get a big drive going. They do get the chance. Johan Mulder. It's ready. Oh, that one's gone down and free kick awarded to Cardiff. That doesn't help them much because that just means that they'll be able to kick this one downfield into touch and then the Stormers will be allowed to get another attack going. 31 minutes remaining though. Yeah, what? Fiji are beating New Zealand by a bit of a way. 24-0 at the moment, my last update was. The game's not over either. Good kick downfield. And the Stormers do not take it quickly as they realise that they would have made an extra about 30 meters if they had not thrown it. So just by the way, where are we in quarter or semi-finals? No idea. So one match, I believe that has been confirmed, is going to be Glasgow versus Bulls, taking place in Scotland. And then also the winner of this game faces the winner of Leinster Lions, I believe. But it could also be done off rankings. But from what I've seen, it seems to be what I've mentioned there. But they haven't updated it on the URC website yet. So that makes it slightly difficult. Oh, Ahmad Khan, good sniping run from the 9. Andre Smith, pick and go. He's seen the opportunity to make a few extra cheap meters for his Stormers side, and that is exactly what he's been able to do. Leon Zas having a little bit of a push and a shove there at the back. Now, Evan and Ruiz dragged down. They've actually done very well to shut him down, not just this game, but both games, Cardiff. Knowing how dangerous that man can be when it comes to scoring tries. And like I said, there was a time where he was leading try scorer and scoring pretty much every single week. And Stormers need to score another try. Another run for this time Marcel Dennis, and Amar Khan goes to Sasha. He wasn't quite able to feed his way through. Now moving the ball on. Tutuku Machunu decided to leave it alone. Now Ben Thomas running it outside of the 22. He's trying to fend off absolutely everybody but Ben. Oh no, this time Paul de Villiers just loses the footing. Johan Mulder going to the short side. Gabanda near best stream ever, says Irish Mick. And any news on the Sevens game? New Zealand are getting absolutely destroyed by Fiji. 31-0 at the moment for the quarter final. That's a nice take from Siabalo Sanatla. Offload to Sasha Feinberg Zulu. And he should score. And does. He slams into the turf. Looks like he's hurt himself in the process. But it is the try for the Stormers. The breakaway try off the counter-attack. And yeah, he's hurt himself badly, Sasha. Looks like the shin. He decided that he wanted to try and make it an easier kick, so he took on the contact of the last player. But Cardiff, they tried the cross kick. I know has said it as well, that dreaded cross kick too. It just didn't work out. It worked out for the Stormers. We can see it there, that last-ditch effort. Just tried to make a couple extra meters there. What a stupid play by Cardiff. It's a little bit similar to Craig Casey's, when he tried his round-the-back flick pass or that little no-look flick that went straight into the hands of the Bulls and they scored. That was kind of Cardiff's equivalent there. But, yeah, Sasha's still looking like he's struggling a little bit with his shin here. So there's going to be a kicking chance for Imad Khan. That's an understatement of the year. Lloyd will regret that kick. I would say so. What's wrong with Sasha? He went for a few extra meters closer to the posts and then ended up hurting his leg when he was tackled. And that one has missed away to the side for Imad Khan. That's quite a crucial miss too when you consider how this match is going. Is Sasha going to continue? Looks like he wants to. And come on, Cardiff, what the hell are you doing? And open, not a hope, Mick. Double scores for Westmeath. You could see the grimace on Sasha's face already as he started. Diving tries are very dangerous. Players don't realise they can injure themselves badly. Yeah, and it was actually that half by, not quite an ankle tap, but just the way that he smacked his legs together from the player making the tackle on him. Is he still on the field? It looks like he's going to continue here, Sasha. Or is he? He's behind the post at the moment. So, no, he's going to be taken off here. Limping back towards the bench now for Sasha. He is not going to continue for the rest of this game. So probably chose the best time to score. New Zealand lost 40-0 in the sevens. Probably not their best game, you'd have to argue. Now Australia are going to play Kenya. And then South Africa, Spain, followed by France versus Argentina. 40-0 is not good. It's not ideal for the Kiwis, but they did also get beat in the game prior 24-0. So they've gone 2 games without scoring a try or any points. Now Johan Mulder going away to the right-hand side again. Thomas with a short flat pass. Evan Russ looking for the turnover in the breakdown. Just loses the footing along the way. Okay, the ball is still on the side of Cardiff. There was a bit of confusion there as to whether or not Evan Russ had done enough to get the turnover for his side. I'll move him back across again. Thought about the kick in behind, the big fend from Winnett. How did South Africa's women do? 1 second. South Africa are playing Argentina in the 9th place semi-final. And then if they win that, they'll play either Brazil or Great Britain. Now this one's going to be kicked down a little bit closer towards halfway. So Nutler's knocked it on. Although the ball is going to be grabbed by the Stormers on the ground, so it will go back for that Cardiff scrum anyway. So with a total of 26 minutes remaining. 25-14, 26-14. The way that this one sits currently. Are you going to cover the sevens upcoming, Hamish? I will be covering the semi-finals onwards. As well as some of the other playoff games too. But it's just worked out, unfortunately, it's just overlapped really poorly. Like, normally we'd do every quarterfinal on the men's side. We'd do, all of the games that we could in the pool. So probably, let's say by now we would have done 15 streams on the sevens. We've only done, I think, 3 throughout this weekend, which has been a big shame. But, yeah, once again, it's just the way that the timings have worked out. It'll be the same next week in Bordeaux, more than likely. But I am doing the finals, the semis, and all those games. So predominantly day 3 of the sevens. Johan Mulder now, though. Puts the ball in. And it's going to be available for Basham to go off to Lloyd. Now midfield. He loves throwing flat passes, old Rory Jennings. That's about his 5th one of the day. Big shot on Beetham. Paul de Villiers over the ball and over the man. And he's ripped the ball back onto the side of the Stormers again. So you're doing 3 games, says Irish Mick. 3 games so far. We'll probably have about 7 or 8 7 streams tomorrow. Even Roos, he's just offloaded it straight back into the hands of Ben Thomas. So the Cardiff side looking for a 50-22 or at least an attempt at it. But Imad Khan charges it down 5 metres out from their own line now. Cardiff, that looked a little bit high. Now just looking to get themselves set. Maybe they're not showing the game on Sky Sport New Zealand. Where are you watching the game? It's on URC TV. Used to be on TVNZ Plus here in New Zealand, but then they sadly did lose the licensing. So yeah, the way that it's broadcast now is URC TV. And now step from Balimza. And it's just to get round the outside. Still on the side of the Stormers here. Ahmad Khan goes to Ntotoko Machunu. Loves to go for the full 80 if he's allowed to, but they will take him off relatively soon, I would think. We have got their flat pass, says Chris McCarthy. Which ones do you think you'll cover this weekend, says Reiko? Is in the sevens. I'll let you know probably near the end of the same. Oh, drop kick here. And Yuri Matia, he struck it nicely. He hits the post and it bounces away. Almost had the additional 3, which would have given them the lead of 15, and they would have felt in pretty decent control in that case. That is a booting, massive punt downfield from Cardiff as well, but Matia just hits the upright. And we have got there, are you prefer salted or unsalted nuts to chow on while enjoying Sport TV? I don't mind a good salted peanut, I would say. Like non-salted's all right too. I'm not too picky. We have it there who's kicking for the Stormers now. Ahmad Khan. It was the man who took the last kick. He did not quite get it over. Stormers coming from the side of every ruck. Says Haino. Now line out throw here for the Stormers. About 38 metres from their line. Drop kick WWE, says Irish Mick. Just saying there, the multiple changes being made. Salman Murat has made his way on. Ntotoko Machunu also taken off. JJ Kutsia is also on. I swear I heard Evan Rose for Murat there, but that would be an interesting switch because that would mean you're taking one of your loose forwards off. I've got to try and get me squinting eyes to work. Where are the players? Oh, nice ball out to Sinatla. That was flat too, but he's kicking it. Oh, sorry, running it towards the corner. And he's knocked himself out. He's actually fully knocked out too. In the way that he finished that one, he is sleeping. This is a big concern in the corner. He decided to go for the big emphatic dive. We talked about it only about 15 minutes ago, about players injuring themselves in the process of diving over the line. And the worst thing is there might have been a forward pass to him before that one even took place. Okay, they want to check that there was no knock on. That was a really ugly one. I'm kind of slouched over there. That was brutal for Sergio Peterson. Hopefully he's going to be all right. I don't think he's going to be continuing because he turned into a rag doll there in terms of the way that he was diving over the line and after he hit the ground. And unfortunately, I think that's a knock on from Dan du Plessis anyway by the looks of that angle. Yeah, might have brushed the fingers of du Plessis. Yeah, clearly forward off the Stormers player. So it's going to be no try for Sinatla, and he's going to be out of this game because of the injury. First one, the Stormers in Cardiff, says Haino there. Yeah, that was an ugly one right there. So it's going to be no try going back for the scrum to Cardiff. Crowd are booing, but it is the right call in that scenario. But hopefully Sinatla is going to be all right to be able to play next week. The worst peanuts are on the bar counter. You never know who washed their hands or not, says Reiko. It's now going to give everyone a fear of bar peanuts, isn't it? I mean, Kenya versus Canada. No, that's the lie. It's Kenya versus Australia taking place in the sevens. Currently, Australia are leading 7-0 with a try from Maurice Longbottom in the early stages. We'll keep you informed about what's happening in that one. Try and explain injury, please. So pretty much in the process of diving over the line for Ciabello Sinatla, he landed really awkwardly, slammed his head on the turf, and then also rolled like he was completely knocked unconscious, rolling forward, and then ended face down on the side of the field. He's ignoring when it's no arm tackle. His try is scored, says Jimbo. It's average 10 players to Australia, UK, France to the league. I think you could get better backs. Says 1, 2, 3. Sinatla is continuing. Was he not knocked out? if he's continuing, then player safety must just not exist. Because he wasn't good for a second there. The way that he tumbled forward was not the way a man would tumble if he hadn't just taken a nasty head knock. Crowd booing, but Hamish doesn't want to play the boo sound to give us the feeling of being in the crowd. Stormers need a coach. Dobson is clueless. Is he okay? Apparently. Oh, okay. Now they're going to take him off for an HIA. Yep, HIA here, as they've called it. So Stephen Nkura will make his way on to the field. I have no idea why they thought that would be all right to leave him out there for longer. Now, off the back here, Basham. He's just about being collided with by two of the Stormers players. Slapping it back. Owen Lloyd going in behind. Looks like De Villiers also down awkwardly. Sliding in a weird manner. Ahmad Khan just running it into touch. And they've thrown the ball away to the Stormers. They're starting to capitulate near the end of this one. Ahmad Khan just having a moment of randomness there. I think he just tried to stop a quick throw. As URC or Super Rugby Pass Flatter says, Ren, there's been quite a few flat ones in recent times in Super Rugby. There was one round where nothing was getting called, but there's been a few interesting ones in the URC playoffs too. Owen Lloyd kicking this one towards the corner. They are not out of this game yet, ladies and gentlemen. If Cardiff score now and convert, HIA, that's my nickname, Mr. HIA, says Irish Mick. But now line out here. It makes them more salty, says Daryl. I assume that's the bar peanuts, isn't it? Now line out for Cardiff. Took a little while to throw it in, but Duff Hughes was happy with the jump. And now they're trying to get this rolling maul moving forward, currently going backwards for Cardiff. Although they've been told to use it once by the referee, it has been wheeled around here. Is that obstruction? I think it's going to be all right for now. Just 2 meters short of the try line. Was the remaining time of the game. There's still 20 minutes remaining in this game. So plenty of time in Cardiff that was on the line. It looked like he may have lost it backwards. But was it down and then he lost the ball? It did seem like it bobbled, so they'll have to check everything here to make sure that this was either a grounding. I have to say body language of both of them says that he probably didn't get it. And Ab Moana found money to stay Super Rugby. They had the offer from a company and they declined it because of the fine print of certain connections to New Zealand rugby or something. I think they wanted to make them independent. And yeah, Moana Pacifica's board said, you know what? No, we'd rather just not exist anymore. Yeah, that's a try. It's on the line. The ball does then get left behind afterwards. Knock on, says Jimbo. And there. And up to you, says Samuel. And can everyone clap for Jimbo? His Craven team played Westmeath later in All Ireland. He'd probably be upset when they win as Miracle God. All right, we're going to see the replay here, though, seeing whether or not there's obstruction. I did mention in that first initial moment that it seemed like the player, I believe it was the number 4 who was the questionable one. In fact, it might have even been, yeah, see that? We've seen that called before, but clearly still a maul is the comment. Can you give the Blitzbox update? They haven't played yet. They're in the quarterfinal facing Spain. Currently, Australia are leading in their game up against Kenya 7 points to 0 at halftime. Fiji were able to absolutely butcher the Kiwis 40 points to 0. He grounds it legally on the line. I can't do an Irish accent, and every time I try it, I feel like I offend a whole nation. But it is the try to Cardiff. Try denied. Try is awarded for James Botham. Now means Cardiff have another very important kick for Owen Lloyd. He likes to shape the ball from right to left, and this angle doesn't really work for him necessarily. He will have to start it more than likely outside of the right-hand post and try and bring it around. It's not impossible. And he strikes it. And he does it. He brings it around and it goes over. That will make the score now 21-26. Cardiff are not giving up here. Margin now 5 points between the teams, and we've got to remember no Sasha at the moment out there on the field for the Stormers team. It's kicked off, taken by Cardiff. Almost turned into a maul already. Salman Murat has managed to drag him down and wearing my Dublin hat, Mick. I'm a dub. And also Stormers losing their grip, says Andy. They have to be very careful here because if they're not being careful, we could see Cardiff get themselves another sneaky break. And this game is on. It certainly is. Much closer than the last game that we saw between the Bulls and Munster. 19 minutes remain here. The Stormers, this would not be their first home loss if they were to lose this one. That is, of course, at the moment, worst case scenario. Typical Stormers switching off. Married a Cavan woman. Cavan. I'm trying to think of an Irish accent. I'm not going to try and say it because I feel like I'll embarrass myself again. Stormers struggling against the Pink Cardiff team at home. How so? Says Ben, that one's going to be dragged down. JJ Coetzee, although they have got themselves the penalty advantage now. The Stormers looking to use their back line. Living around the back was Dan Duplessis. Thought about the inside pass. Couldn't get it away. Yuri Matia. Onkura. They've moved up to the 22. Halsasha injured. He made his way from the field. They certainly won't want to lose him. That's another drop ball. Going to go back for the original maul collapse. Cavan. Is that correct? There's an Irish saying, if my aunt had salty balls, she'd be my uncle. Say that in an Irish accent. Why does it have to be salty, the balls? Surely it's just if she had balls, she'd be your uncle, right? And typical South African self-implosion. Says Samuel, although they have got the penalty here. Trying to work out, I don't think Ruan Eckerman has made his way on yet. We see there Paul de Villiers, Untertuko Machunu, Damien Valimza, the three men who are nominated for Player of the Match. Owen Lloyd and also Tane Basham on the other side of things. We have there, Cardiff are a decent team, but the Stormers shouldn't be struggling against them. Time for a new coach, says how's it? And what's the point standing if we lose today, says Rako. So this is the quarter final. So if they lose this game, the Stormers, they're out of the competition. Now line out here for JJ Coetzee. Well handled. Oh, that man was set up on. Oh, and a nice offload there, close to the try line, and Kura's held up. So they'll have to go back, although the referee said that they want to have another check at this one to see if there is a ground in the crowd. Feel like it is. But Nkura, he thinks he scored this one. Oh no, he's just done that as if to say maybe he hasn't. Oh, number 18, off you go is the comment. You know, that looks held up to me. So it does mean that the penalty will be awarded to the Stormers. I mean, the stream is great banter, unlike some of them shouting on streams. Says Irish Mick. Does he see South Africa progressing next week? So Javi and Sebastian, he's the second tight ear prop for the side to get taken off of the field. But JJ Coetzee now. So there's a good position on the field again here. They said there, Kiran Azarati went off the field injured, so that would be an uncontested scrums maybe. Could be on the cards for 15 against 14. It certainly is, and the Stormers are in the box seat now. They need this try, and they need it now. Evan Russ. He ends up with the ball in hand by the looks of this rolling maul. It hasn't gone all the way back. Well, who has the ball? It looks like Ben. Oh, it's Paul de Villiers who comes out with the try. And that should almost be the game. Maybe. What happened to Sasha Feinberg Zulu? Ended up injured in the process of scoring the try. Tried to get a little bit closer to the post to make it an easier kick. Got tackled by a Cardiff player and then smacked his shins together and may have done some real damage to the lower limb. Be right, Mac needs to align or wheat bix cornflakes. He's Irish Mick. Paul de Villiers the box 6 this year. Yeah, he's just managed to sneak through the middle of that one. Initially, it looked like they were going to be trying to pop it back further, but I don't think they needed to because of how quickly they were progressing towards the try line. And yes, there's Reiko there. This game is like a roller coaster as well, says Xander. Now Yuri Matia. Be lining up there. Ooh. That one's gone away, way off to the right-hand side. So he has taken over the kicking responsibilities from Ahmad Khan, who took over the kicking responsibilities from Sasha Feinberg. Mgame Zulu. I'm back high now, says Irish Mick. We're having Sasha injured in the process of scoring a try. Lower leg injury. If you're Hamish, I'm balding, should I just cut it off? Depends on whether or not you're self-conscious about it. So if you're not self-conscious about it, just have your hair however you like. If you are self-conscious about it, then maybe you can look at that as an option. But either way, you got to do whatever you want to, rather than what you feel like you have to. Yep, rolling this one back, Stephen Nkura. It's inside of the 22. Has been taken back in. I can see Cardiff get 10 points in 10 minutes. Says Xander. Yeah, although I do think that now we're going to see the Stormers find some rhythm. They've got a man advantage at the end of the day, and this game started getting a little bit more open. Box using sticky tapes to keep a squad together at the moment. Can you do the blitz spots after this, says Mohideen? They will fully overlap. Like, we might get like 2 minutes at the end of that blitz box game. And we have there, depends on where your balding splash. If it's, just don't cut it off. And one Paul says Herbert. Okay, because there is a scrum, it means that Cardiff are going to play with 13 men. Because of the fact that we're uncontested scrums now. The number 8 will be making his way from the field. It doesn't look like number 8. Oh no, now it's number 8. They were showing someone else. Not you, Amy, says Reiko. And depends on... Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And I heard Tom Curry is done and out for the foreseeable future due to concussions. Says Project BTM. It is a bit of a shame. I know there's going to be a few players like that in the near future who are on the verge already of one head knock away from not being able to continue playing, but you never like to see that for any player. And we have got there, what a mess. Is Sasha injured? Yes, currently, but might not be serious enough to keep him out for the next game. There's a dumb rule, 2 less player for uncontested, says Rian. Although it comes back to getting the yellow card. If they didn't have the yellow card, it wouldn't be uncontested. Who's on for Sasha? Yuri Matia is out there, and also Ahmad Khan Nkura is out there too. Will Sasha miss next week? Probably. I wouldn't guarantee it. He was limping off the field, but it seemed like he was able to put a decent amount of weight on it, so it will depend on how it sits probably tomorrow. It's off subject. I was just connecting on Sasha and current Bok injury, says Project. No, you're all good. I don't really know many of the injuries that are going on in the Gallagher Premiership at the moment. Just because here in New Zealand, I haven't caught a Gallagher Prem game for a while. I'm hoping to do maybe some of the playoffs. Full time in the Australia-Kenya Sevens, by the way, ladies and gents. 21-0 for the Australians. So I believe they will now be playing up against Fiji in the semi-final. We'll, of course, be covering that one. If the Stormers win, who do they play next? I believe they would play the winner of Leinster versus the Lions. Right, uncontested scrums, which does mean that this one will not have a scrum advantage, of course, for either of the teams. Nkura going away to the right-hand side. Now, the limbs are almost able to break through. Ahmad Khan is also still out there on the field. He's more so playing as a winger, with Nkura playing. Oh, nice run from Zachary Paul. Thin looks for the offload. It looked like Rus, no knock on. Nkura back to Yuri Matia, who decides up and under is the way that they want to go. Slapped back by Ahmad Khan. Ooh, big diving take there from Salman Murat. Now, Evan Rus. Seems like he's going to be playing. Oh, no, in fact, that time it was Tennyson. Although I do think that Rus and De Villiers, they're both deciding who's going to be playing the full 80 minutes, and the other man will be taken off the field, replaced by Ackerman. Another advantage, middle of the field for the Stormers. Nkura Goes across Yuri Matia, tries the outside of the boot, and it goes to Cardiff. So, again, we come back for the penalty. Colby needs to play soon, says Mike Noel. He won't be able to play this year. He will be eligible for them from next season onwards, alongside Sio Kolisi and also Wilco Lowe. Oh, okay, change of mindset here for the Stormers. They are up by 10 points, and they have decided a shot at the posts is the way that they want to go here. Murat knocked out a player a while ago. He is the new enforcer, says Xander. If Stormers play the Bulls in the final, where would it be held? It would be in Cape Town. But now Cardiff. Oh, we have 12 minutes to try and make up 13 points. Oh, Mattia almost missed that, but it has still gone through. Don't understand the CS signing, but glad he's back at the Stormers, says how's it? You see, I would have thought they had Ben, Jason Dixon, Ruiz, and De Villiers as their starting three, and a couple of those other kind of younger players still on the fringe as their backups. But you know, I imagine it wouldn't be a cheap signing, but I guess it's that experience side of things maybe. Tired Amish says, Rako, the tiredness may have just kicked in. It's currently about 3:15 a.m. here. We have been doing live streams since 7 p.m. yesterday. But now, Yuri Matia. Let's go down the field. The all-nighter the night before probably didn't help either, I will say. This one, Lloyd. Chasing after it. Cameron Winnett. Take from Yuri Matia. Again to Valimza. He's looking for a 50-22, trying to get it in behind. Cardiff watching the bounce of the ball very closely. Oh, some quick shuffling step in there from the Cardiff number 23. Couldn't quite get through with Tom Bowen. And a counter ruck there from the Stormers as well. No, they don't get the penalty. Players leaving their feet. We have got there. Have we got burning members in South Africa because your South African language is pretty good, says Cole. And we have got there Morat is bad, says Martin. And Joey Nails and Freebase and Brandy go the Stormers. And Morat is bad and Martin, one of the most overrated players in the bot conversation. But yeah, he's going to Japan, which is quite ideal because he'll make good money over there. And we'll be able to get out of like the constant criticism. I feel like a lot of the guys go to Japan and just absolutely love it. 14 penalties against Cardiff here. 7 against the Stormers. Blitzbox update. At the moment, the Blitzbox, they have just kicked off in their game up against Spain. Still 0-0. Splash some water on your face to wake yourself up and prove how dedicated you are, says School Story. And please update about the Sevens. Currently, 7-7 between the Box and the Spanish. Evan Ruiz now has been taken from the field. I've said there, he remains the top try scorer, but he hasn't been able to score a try against Cardiff. Last 2 games, he's been unsuccessful in that venture. Honeycomb is way too soft, always injured. Says Martin. Now still rolling. Back across to the right-hand side, Ben Thomas. Now popped up. Thomas again going left-hand side. Josh McNally. 9 minutes. Still 13 points though. Oh, Spain just scored first. Joseph Ceres has helped his side take the lead over the Blitzbox. 5 points to 0. Now still trying to get that steal on the breakdown for Hughes. Oh, it's a deliberate knockdown from Steven Nkura. He's kind of just acted like he didn't touch that, and I think that's a good plan because I don't think any of the referees spotted it. He's got a smile on his face, though, Steven Nkura. I think he may know about that one. And a guy might be injury prone, but when he plays, he's one of the best on the field. Much better than Ruiz, who plays for the cameras, says, how's it? And anyone having a bad day should not be left on the field, says Mike. So who's your guy who's had a bad day? Was that Ruiz or who's your guy who's having the bad day? Oh, Damian Valimza pops the ball up and Nkura goes across now to Marcel Tennyson. And keep it up, Stormers, says Herbert. Back across again. Oh, Paul de Villiers getting his head hit by Danny Southworth. Still the 1 minute remaining of that Cardiff yellow card. Currently, they are still out there with 13 on the field. Waiting an age for this one, and nicely taken by Ahmad Khan. So on the side of the Stormers, pick and go. There might have been obstruction there, but it's going to work out. And Kura should be able to score it, although they may just want to check that to make sure that it was legal. But Nkura gets the try. Double blow the whistle. This one might get ruled out pretty quickly. We have got there, Motor is having a bad rugby career. He's made a lot of money playing badly, as people are saying, but he's probably done quite well for himself in the end. And he'll be making more money in Japan as well. Ramos getting the conversion. South Africa are down 7-0 after the first 3 minutes of their game up against the Sevens from Spain. Henry Bullock would cure him quick. And not obstructed, no Cardiff man near him. Right, we're going to see the replay now. Yeah, unfortunately, Ruan now has blocked Ben Thomas past the breakdown there. Now, it's whether or not they rule Ben Thomas as part of the breakdown, which... Okay, he's affected him from making a tackle, so it is going to be no try for the obstruction. And we have got there, never live up to South Africa expectations. We should start a petition to allow handbags like they do in ice hockey. Okay, sounds like the decision is going to be made. Yep, so it is going to be obstruction for playing the man. Terrible decision, says Jimbo. The commentators have just said it was the right call. Okay, Ruan now, well, to be fair, the way that Ruan now just described that pretty much says that it was a penalty against him because he said it was accidental. Not saying he was part of the ruck or anything along those lines. It was accidental was the direct quote. 12-0 for Spain up against the Blitzbox, by the way. Manu Moreno just scored himself a try. And Spain are up by 12. Commentating next, mate. Next one will be at around 3.5 hours. And that will be Leinster versus Lions. So I have to decide whether or not I want to go to bed for like an hour in between or whether I just stay awake and power on through. We have got there Blitz getting a hiding. Says Ben, yeah, although Sevens isn't over till it's over. Valencia has just got a yellow card. So straight away that changes that Sevens game completely. We have got there, you should take a nap. I'll consider it. It depends on what time we finish here. We might have a couple previews and whatnot get done for the Seven side of things, seeing as we haven't done a lot throughout this weekend. Now, Owen Lloyd, short ball to Cameron Winnett. Still 7 minutes on the clock. Can you watch Arsenal PNG? Or PSG, sorry. When's it taking place? I might end up having a little bit of a look at it. I won't be doing the commentary for it. I wouldn't think. That's a good kick downfield from Ahmad Khan. A lot of metres lost there for Cardiff. Thought about going quickly, but just couldn't quite regather that ball nicely. I just love hyping up the South African, pointing out the Sevens. Says Neil Bester. Yeah, although now it's not the best time to hype them up because they're down by 12. But the game can always change. Of course, I'm not watching that one at the moment. So I don't know whether or not there's some sort of big moment that will change this game completely. They're playing in the next 40 minutes, says Tyler. And also come on the Blitzies. Now that ball going to be on the side of the Stormers again, round the halfway line. Moving away to left for Limza, almost managing to pierce through Ben Thomas. Your Monster Hamish, we expect no less. Get some sleep, please. Love seeing the South Pole from Invercargill. Says Big B, drop ball. Knocked on. Looked like it was a knock on from Matongo, but it's going to be the scrum advantage in favour of the Stormers, who are still up by 13, but they need to get past that 2-try deficit or 2-try lead. I feel fully safe in this game because I just feel like without that, could be brutal. Now another penalty advantage here. Advantage over. Second will go like that. We'll go like that as well, but it is half-time in the sevens, ladies and gentlemen. South Africa are currently 12-0 down. Can all change, and we will be keeping an eye on it, of course. Do you cover MLB also? Sadly not. I'm not the best when it comes to baseball. Ow, that was a shot to the ribs. Valimza has committed well and truly, though, to keep their ball on his team's side. Now, Yuri Matia kicking it as far downfield as he can. The Stormers are going more for the territory now, whereas Winnett and his Cardiff side are looking to run it every chance that they get. They need a try within the next couple minutes. Ball's still there on the side of the Stormers. Why have they done that? Oh, sorry, on the side of Cardiff. But Cardiff have kicked that one downfield, and they've decided to kick it into the in-goal area of the Stormers. Lelion just has to force that one down. They also had a man down, Cardiff, which makes it even more confusing as to why they thought a kicking behind was a good option. Stormers need another 2 tries to steal it, says Joe. We will beat Spain, says Craig. Well, the thing is, Valencias was off the field. And South Africa, they got some good impact players off their bench, so I definitely wouldn't rule them out of a potential comeback up against the Spanish. It's going to be tough, though. There's no denying that. And there goes starting over Bede, says Tyler. That is true. I think we'll go like that. And like that as well. There we go. Right. Ready for the kickoff or the goal line dropout. Spain are hot. Yeah, they've come out absolutely firing in their game up against the Blitz box. One kick down to the halfway line. Cameron Winnett. Now a big attack and run forward. From that time it would have been Alan Lawrence at 20. I think I remember rightly. Now not. 4 minutes remain in this contest. Cardiff need a try and they need it soon. Ruanel with the interception for the Stormers. I prefer fun nightmares rather than scary nightmares, Hamish? Well, I guess, yeah, in a way, that would be the better of the two choices, right? Now, it's going to be Andre Smith. Oh, no, that was actually Ackerman. Zachary Porthin. Again, Sebastian back out there on the field. And 7 minutes first half, Blitz had the ball for 1 minute, good attack, and then kicked the ball away with an overlap out wide, but it's not the difference in the end, says Ben. And one more 5-pointer for the Stormers. Now Yuri Matia running it forward once more. He's going to be hard to stop. He's got Valimza with him, offload Storm. Valimza thought about the pass, springs back up to his feet, dragged down on the 22. Now moving away to the right-hand side, big Fen there, offload to Khan. Tries to spin as well. Some silky skills there. Now, Matongo passes off to JJ Kutsia, who runs it through. And that will now be the game for the Stormers side. They have done enough here. And they now have to wait patiently to find out who they will be playing in their next contest in the semi-finals, Leinster or the Lions. Those two sides are playing in about 3.5 hours' time. There's still 2 minutes remaining as well, I should mention. What I'm quickly doing, though, is I'm getting the sevens up so that we can let you know what's happening in the final moments of that game. Currently, 6 minutes remain and Spain are in possession. If they were to score again now, I think South Africa would be in a little bit of trouble. And they might do some poor defence, it looked like, although there might be an injury there for one of the Spanish players. This one straight out in front of the post for Yuri Matia. Finally a try that will stand after having 4 taken away, says Yanko. And thanks, Hamish, says cool story. And there as well, Yuri Matia taking some deep breaths there before kicking it over the middle of the posts and making the score now 39-21, a 60-point game. In fact, no, sorry, 41-21 now. They are up by the 20 points. JJ Kutsia needed to score it at just the right time. All South Africa have just scored in their game, ladies and gentlemen. They are back in the contest. Spain just keeping the ball and Blitz can't do nothing. Great effort from the Welsh side, says Chris McCarthy. 1 minute left. Knocked back by Ruan now. Picked up by Nkura. 60 seconds to be able to work with. And it looks like the Stormers are not done. Paul de Villiers with some nice stepping passes to Ruan now. Of course, the last thing that the Stormers want to have here is any sort of injury at this stage of the match. And thanks for that one, Stormer, says Herbert, and hard luck, Cardiff. Says Jimbo there too. Yeah, Cardiff have, to be fair, like 20 points. If you looked at the scoreline outside, you just didn't watch the game and you went on, you'd go, okay, they didn't do that flash. Like 20 points isn't the best margin, but they've played all right here. You've got to remember, they've had 2 yellow cards of their tight head props. They've played with 13, but they just haven't quite been clinical enough. And the Stormers have had some standout players. There's another penalty awarded to the Stormers here. So 4 minutes remain. South Africa are down by 5 points. We got there in the end. That cross kick, yep. That was the big game-changing moment. Speaking of game changers, Ricardo James Duarte has the possession here for the blitz box. There is going to be one last kick here for this game between the Stormers and the Cardiff side, but I am watching at the moment the blitz box. Selvin Davids, what's he just done? He's just thrown the ball straight into the hands of Manu Moreno. It looks like it's going to be a foot race. Selvin Davids will just about get him. Sorry for changing the subject here, ladies and gentlemen. But it looks like Selvin Davids has just maybe cost us. No, they've dropped the ball, Spain. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by that game. Of course, we were talking about the URC. Yuri Matia, he's just using up the rest of the time here. Wait, did they score? No, wait, never mind. The scoreboard was playing up, but that kick has gone over from Yuri Matia, and that makes the end score 44 points to 21. Spain almost just scored up against South Africa, but they were stopped right at the last moment on the goal line with some defence from Selvin Davids, as well as a last-ditch effort tackle by a fatigued Sebastian Yob, who somehow slapped the ball out of the grasp. So, the end of this one, ladies and gents, 44-21. For anyone wondering what I am randomly talking about, it is the game taking place between the Blitzbox and Spain. Currently, South Africa are down by 5 in the quarter-final. We are still in the first half of the Sevens. They are not. 3.5 minutes remaining in this contest. We've seen Spain have 24 carries compared to the 8 carries of the South Africans. But South Africa are still only down by the 5, which I think is pretty insane, just to say the very least. But this game going the way of the Stormers in the end. Actually looking like a similar scoreline to what we did see. Well, actually a little bit more favourable for the underdog there, Cardiff, compared to that Munster Bulls game. But 3 minutes remain in the Sevens. We're just going to pick up from the commentary. I already know the players who are taking part in this one, so it's nice and easy. Selvin Davids feeds the ball into the scrum as they will try and run this one out from their own 22 here. South Africa with Shilton Fanbake. He cuts on the inside, cuts through absolutely everyone except for Paul Pla. Manages to hang on to him. Good physicality in the breakdown from Spain. That was illegal. Could have been a yellow card, but Kieran Nokia off the mark. He runs quick. He's going to be caught by Jamie Manteka. Gets back up to his feet. Wrestled towards the sideline. The blitz box currently in possession. 4 Spanish players couldn't rip the blitzies off it. Now Ricardo James Duarte going for a cross kick now from the South Africans. Awkward bouncing ball, nicely picked up, draw and pass. And South Africa with Jaden Nell, they'll score the try between the posts. And now they will take the lead with 2 minutes remaining. You cannot rule out the splits box side, ladies and gentlemen, no matter where they are in the game. When I saw they were 12-0 down, people shouldn't have been doubting them. And all I will say, of course, my TAB account looks absolutely awful. It's got nothing in it, really, because I only watch the games on there. I saw they were $5 underdogs. They shouldn't have been, because they were probably $2 underdogs at worst in terms of their chance of coming back. Anyone who backed them would have been very rich at this stage, because they are probably going to go on and win this game. But now, 100 seconds remaining. South Africa are sitting there 14 points to 12. And it's the try from Jaden Nell that led to the South African lead. 90 seconds remaining. They have turned the game around. Referee Nick Hogan has stopped this game. Now Blitzy's just woken up. Great job, or great play from Job and Nokia. Thank you for the Sevens commentary, says Mandy. No worries at all. And of course, we are going to be back for the semi-finals of the Sevens, as well as a few of the other games. It's been really unfortunate with the overlaps with the URC playoffs, but we are going to be back for the semi-final, whether that is South Africa or Spain, who make their way through. They will face the winner of Argentina versus France. As you can probably tell, I've been keeping an eye on some of the Sevens stuff, just in case we got the opportunity to do any sort of commentary along the way for it as well. But 100 or less than 100 in fact, only 85 seconds remaining. And what, we don't like says Mandy Robinson. No, in this scenario was okay. I almost said that like I was Scooby-Doo. But Spain looking to retain the ball. And again, South Africa slapping it back onto their side. Awkward bouncing ball and it's knocked on by Spain with Juan Ramos, who wasn't able to handle it. At this point in time, South Africa lead by 2 with 60 seconds remaining and they've got the scrum feed. This is one of those games that was not supposed to go the Blitzboks way. They were down 12-0 at half-time. But Impivesa and Jaden Nell, the 2 try scorers in the second half. Thanks for telling us about the game we switched to watch. Says, cool story, no worries at all. But yeah, I do apologise for anyone who's just tuning in now wondering what I am rambling on about, seeing as the game has finished, but it is the Blitzboks and Spain. 40 seconds remaining. Sullivan Davids wanted the penalty. Referee denies him. Just that. Now Davids plays it back. If South Africa score now and convert, they will win this game. Shouldn't fun. That's a foot trip on him, so that will be the advantage in their favour. More than likely a yellow card for Spain. Oh no, they've got 2 penalty options. 20 seconds remaining here for South Africa. 1 minute left, says Ben. This was a massive game here because had they lost this, they would have been well and truly in question for whether or not they would have even won the whole championship because they would have been as low as 5th. But in this case, they've got 3 seconds remaining on the clock. Yellow card for Balincias because of that foot trip. South Africa lead 14 points to 20. No, 14 points to 12. We got there in the end. Foot trip, yellow card for Balincias. And now 3 seconds remain on the clock for the Blitzboks. I think they just take the quick tap and retreat. Okay, they are going to go for the tap here. They are up by 2 points. And now Ricardo James Duarte goes back into the pocket. Davids watches the clock reach 0. They just run that ball out. He tried to pass it into one of the Spanish players, but South Africa have come back from the jaws of defeat. And they have won this game 14 points to 12. Hamish got her wings back, says Listen 101. And Ramble On, says Craig. And thanks, Hamish, you're a star, says Capito there. We already know the result. Says Cool Story. And there too. But the thing is, once again, I'll say it once, I'll say it 5 times. Halftime 12-0, sevens doesn't matter what the scoreline is at the halftime break because you can score as many tries as your opposition in the second half, and that is exactly what South Africa have done, which does mean that it's very exciting, other than the fact that I'll probably have to make another preview because we will probably do a preview for their game up against more than likely Argentina, where the Blitzboks sits. They sit in the semi-final. Fiji versus Australia is the other one, and the winner of the next game between Argentina and France will go head-to-head up against the South Africans. And same as your legend, says Joe. And there. Do we continue with this France versus Argentina game while we're at it, or do we just let you know the result afterwards? I don't know. It's an idea. An epic match, Spain player. We're diving over for the winning try and Job tackled him out of the ball. Yeah, he just slapped it out of the hands, Sebastian Job, and then they went the full length for the field. With some brilliant runs from Sebastian Job. Amishi Biscuit. They break into the sevens with top draw, says Stretch. Are they first? Well, it's a semi-final, so you can't be first in the semi-final. Definitely like some commentary on the quarterfinal 4, says Yanko. Do you want the scoreboard as well? Should we transfer over to the scoreboard background? Or are we? We'll just keep you informed, just in case anyone's tuning in wondering what happened in the Stormers versus Cardiff game. I pray the Lions pull this game off. Says Heather there. Now, kick off here for the French. We are now underway. Toe will be the man kicking this one off. Once again, luckily, because of doing the sevens for a while, we just know most of these players. Managing to slap it back. Marcos Maneta 5 metres out from his own goal line. Gets tackled in the early shot from Epe. A nice quick step in from the Argentines. They were able to beat New Zealand in the last contest 24-0. Give them a fair amount of confidence heading into this quarterfinal. The big fend on Cepho, but Zedar finishes off the tackle. We have you there, Hamish, send your lady a message, man. Says, listen, well, it's currently 3:30 a.m., so she will be sleeping, I would think. But now, chance here on the side of the Argentines, and that is a penalty now. Quick tap taken. Away to the left-hand side, Alvarez moves it on, one more, Maneta going on the outside. That was an extended forearm by the looks of it. Get some sleep, Hamish. Need your full attention for the next game. I think I've just decided I'm going to stay up, to be honest, because I will end up filming a preview for that Fiji versus Australia game. More than likely, we'll film a preview for South Africa versus Argentina or France as well. So more than likely, we'll be up for those couple hours in between. Plus, it will make the time go by quickly if I'm editing and filming. So I'll be all good now. Luciano Gonzalez, ball in hand for Argentina after around 100 seconds of this game. The break through the middle of the park. And a chance now for Argentina to be able to score early. And he does get it down, De Haro. It will be a nice, easy conversion too. You need to be sponsored by Red Bull, says Mandy. I've actually never had a Red Bull, believe it or not. But would they still sponsor me if I haven't drunk their drink? Let's hope so, says Listen 101. Also, you really are... you are really a star, says Daryl. And also we have got the for real, Mandy Robertson. The kick has gone over from Argentina, making it now 7-0 in favour of the Argentines. Hamish already had black Brazilian coffee beans. Too late to go to sleep. I have actually never had coffee either, but people judge me for that. I think that this is the perfect example of I don't really need caffeine to be a little bit awake at random hours of the day. Trying to slap it back, but Zidar put up a decent effort in the air, although it has gone back onto the side of the Pumas, although the counter-ruck from Jordan Sefo as well as his other French teammate has led to the ball on their side. Thought about the pass on the outside, now decides to give it away to Yaram Fall. Sefo moves it across to Arto. Now Rebage. Drawing past there again from France was on the cards, but Zidane decides he wants to hang on to it and has become a rolling maul, or all but did, until he got his knee down. So he was playing in the semis next week. So in the next week's semi-finals of the URC, it will be, I believe, Bulls versus Glasgow. That one taking place in Scotland, and then Stormers versus the winner of Leinster versus Lions. What time is semi-final and final, please? For the sevens, the semi-final for the men will be at... will be 10:44 a.m. South African time. And then also, second semi-final will be, what's that, maths? 11:06 a.m. South African time. So pretty decent. And then the final's on in the afternoon at 4:26 p.m. South African time. But as soon as we know more results, we will get all of the games all scheduled and organised. Currently 7-0 lead for the Argentines. Natural Hamish says, listen. And I think I've read all the comments. Oh no, my cousin used to work for them, the one I tried to hook you up with. I'm glad you added you up with in there rather than without the you. That could have been a very brutal grammatical error. But 3.5 minutes remain of this first half now. I can't believe South Africa came. Well, no, I can actually believe it, but there's one thing believing that it will happen and then actually watching it happen because they just don't like losing. What time are you commenting on the Lions? We are starting 15 minutes before that game, so that one will be kicking off in around 3 hours' time. Luciano Gonzalez goes back across to the left-hand side now. A little bit of skipping around the place. Zangara. Now it's Zedar. Pops it across to the right-hand side again. Sweet daydreams, Amish. See you later. See, it's cool story now. A good run forward from Argentina. Passes one more to Luciano Gonzalez. Some good handy position here for the Pumas. Looking to pass it up. Finds the hands of Marcos Money Moneta. And he will score it between the posts as well. Making it now 14-0 in favour of the Argentines. She works for Jägermeister now. Do you have Jägermeister in New Zealand? I don't actually know. It sounds like, of course, I know of Jägermeister. We'll check. Where would we find that? And go S to the U to the P-E-R, super. I put super liquid, but it's super liquor. Super, they'd have something along those lines, wouldn't they? Am I over 18? Oh, this is hard work. Select a store. No. Jägermeister. Yeah, they do have it. You can get it in a 1 litre, a 200ml, or a 700ml. But the kick here for Argentina, straight out in front of the post, should be easy enough. I need a Lions versus Bulls final. I just said the final was in Pretoria. Says Hano. Oh, so you'll be really going for the Bulls. Oh, sorry, for the Lions in that next contest. Can you put info of the current match on the screen if possible, please? Says Reiko. I can do. I want to leave that just in case anyone is tuning in who is looking specifically for the Stormers full-time result. But we will go France. Oops. We'll go short in terminology just for fun. 0-7 of Argentina. There we go. It's that. There. And he says, hey, no. And go back says Reiko. So currently just the 2 minute. Oh, no, it's 14 now, isn't it? Hang on. There we go. Although Argentina back in the position again, they might be trying to make it 21-0. The French are not too careful, almost through. Thought about the offload. And Daharo, he has already scored a try in this contest. 90 seconds remain. Vitterfeld with some good step and an awkward one on his knee as well by the looks of that. Now charging forward. Offload again. Alvarez in open space. Sells the dummy trying to lure in the defence. Now Graziano. Oh, no, in fact, that was Luciano Gonzalez on the near side. Ball is there out the back of the breakdown. Now Vitterfeld moves it on to Deharo again. Marcos Moneta has 2 men looking at him, but instead goes on the outside to his teammate Sangara, who's allowed one motion and goes on over. They are running away with this one at the moment, the Argentines. 19-0. We are still within the first half too. Argentinian beef top quality, says Ruth. But it was well done by Marcos Moneta to be able to initially take that ball off of Pauline Riva. They have turned the time back on now. And Zangara, he has allowed one motion of putting that ball down over the try line. That's exactly what he was able to do, but keeping that kick low and over for the Argentines with 20 seconds remaining in this first half here. 1 second, we'll go boom, boom, pow. Put that as a 21-0. We have you there, Moneta, says Ruth. What's his draw and pass and the danger of Moneta with ball in hand at the moment. 37-6 in terms of the passing department. Carries 18-4. There's no wonder that Argentina got themselves that decent lead. Zedar running forward. That was what I was trying to do, but it was very hard to motion. I was trying to show that he was running. But out across Jordan Cepho. Thought about the pass on his outside eventually. Throws it to Yaram Fall. Thanks for the Rugby Sport, damn South Africa. Says Robbie, and another penalty goes the way of Argentina. I think they would be more than happy just to tap that ball and kick it into touches of sevens. It certainly is. And now 7 minutes through this game already. And it is the lead for Argentina, 21 points to 0. So one semi-final is already confirmed. That is going to be Fiji versus Australia. On the other side, it is South Africa versus the winner of this game, either Argentina or the French. After the Blitzboks were able to get themselves that victory over Spain, 14 points to the 12. Smack that baby. And how did the Blitzboks do? They won 14-12 in the end. They were down 12-0 at halftime. They came back into it and scored 2 second-half tries with Jaden Nell and Impivesa to then be able to win the game, which just seems to happen. You know, even if you're down by 12, I say it all the time, definitely with a side like Fiji, you don't know what to expect. But it's quite interesting because Fiji won 40-0 up against New Zealand. Australia won 21-0 up against Kenya. Argentina currently winning 21-0 up against France. So Spain versus South Africa is the only game at the moment where both sides have actually scored points, which is a bit of a surprising one. French got mauled by the Pumas hunting, says Ruth. I'm just going to quickly check. I forgot how to talk there for a second. I was just chilling, looking at the screen, watching the ads that they were showing. The Women's Cup semi-finals are taking place from 8 p.m. onwards. I think we'll have a couple confirmed now, so I'll refresh and let you know who's playing who in that department. So where are we? So Spain got beaten by New Zealand in the women's quarterfinal. Australia beat France in the women's quarterfinal. It's Canada versus USA on one side of the draw. New Zealand versus the others. New Zealand versus Australia in the women's semi-final at 8 p.m. New Zealand time. So that'll be 10 a.m. you guys in South Africa. And then also Fiji, Australia is confirmed. So more than likely, first stream tomorrow will be at 8 p.m. New Zealand time for the women's semi-final. And then we'll be jumping into a couple men's semi-finals afterwards, going right through to later on in the evening. I'll wait to the left-hand side. But also, I should mention, the stream after this one is going to be Leinster versus Lions. That one is going to be starting up in exactly 3 hours' time. We have got the guys from Next Play coming over again. So if you do take part in the participation of the questionnaire, or like the live predictions, then you could end up winning yourself some Super Rugby merch. We have got there, well, Argentina versus the Box has their game cut for them next. It will be interesting, says Reiko. Another penalty goes the way of Argentina with just the 6 minutes remaining in the first half, but this one is far from being close. On average, that's what your lady may say to you later. And joking, says Ruth. And Pumas is Spanish speaking, says Ruth. Right, they've decided to go for the scrum here, Argentina. 6 minutes on the clock. Penalties conceded 4 so far from the French. Not an ideal situation there. So we'll go like this. Go. Offload 6 at the moment for the Argentines compared to the 0 of the French. Visits to opposition 22-3 for Argentina compared to the 1 of the French as well. So it is all pretty one-sided in favour of the Argentines, and they get another penalty here at scrum time. Tejado thought about maybe going quickly on the short side. I wouldn't be surprised if Argentina called for the scrum again, and that is exactly what Santiago Alvarez says. No point trying to speed up this game if you're Argentina. You're in control. All you got to do is just wait for that final whistle. Move your way through to that semi-final up against South Africa. You don't want to expend all this energy. So at the end of the day, in Spain, it is extremely hot, as we've found throughout the rest of the tournament. In this case, it's just about trying to cool down a little bit. Oh, bit of a slip there for Argentina with Luciano Gonzalez. This time the penalty is going to be won by France, who I will mention are still looking to try and find a way of getting back into this game. Pulling Riva away to the left-hand side. Arto now moving it on again. Nice draw and pass towards the corner. Nelson Epe, brilliant tackle there from Argentina, forcing him into touch. That is an effort and a half. Getting dark here in Cape Town. Calm evening. They're going to be packed in the pubs later. Says Roof there. We saw it there. A brilliant run. We're seeing here the Nelson Epe tackle, just ripping him into touch by Dubuque. Epe, no space to work with. There are a few interesting costumes in the stands. Again, it looks like inflatable dinosaurs is the one of the day. At the moment, France's tackle completion is only 53%, which is much lower than they would normally pride themselves on. A line-out throw. Again, for the Argentines, inside of their 22, put a little bit of pressure on there, the French. They have managed to rip that ball away. Arto over the top to Nelson Epe. Little bit of a stutter step there, running around the outside, tries to pop it back in field, and it goes into touch off Riva. Argentina again will have the line-out throw. They're saying there that they're having to throw these 50-50 passes for the chance of being able to get themselves one big break. They could change the game around. And Buzz and Velez, another line out. Australia versus which team in their semi? They are playing Fiji. So that is going to be the earlier men's semi-final. That one taking place at 8:44 p.m. New Zealand time, or 10:44 a.m. for you guys in South Africa. The winner of this game will face South Africa at 9:06 New Zealand time, which is 11:06 a.m. South African time. We'll be live for both of those games as well, by the way. So be sure to stick around for those. Line out now, taken nicely by the Argentines. Getting wrestled backwards, though, in a big, heavy contest by Arto, and he's managed to win the ball for his side. In fact, that time it was Zadar. A little bit of afters after that one, too. But now moving away to the left-hand side. Can France score for the first time in this contest? The draw and pass was perfect, and Nelson Epe scores it out in the corner. There's only 2 minutes 50 remaining on the clock, but France are now on the score sheet. If the conversions all go over, technically 2 more tries converted, and they'll be right back in this game. Anyone who is just tuning in now as well, I will mention we are covering a little bit of the sevens in the quarterfinals. The game between the Stormers and Cardiff has come to a close, 44 points to 21 in favour of the Stormers. So they move on to the semi-finals alongside the Bulls and Glasgow. That kick is missed away to the side though for France, so that's shut down any chance of that comeback. Oh man, that croissant looks tasty, says Demitado. Oh, big hard slap there. But it's ended up going back on the side of the French. I'll tell you what, if they score right now, they actually technically can still go and get themselves the almighty comeback. Nelson Epe, netball style pass, bouncing it across a couple of times. Looping around was Arto. Looks to just jog this one back infield and does so. He does manage to score it close to the post. Is this too late for the French? Not at all. They've got their kick over and still 100 seconds remaining. They are now going to be down by only the 9 points here, the French. There we go. We'll put that as the scoreline, 21 points to the 12. This game is far from done. I'll be absolutely loving it too, France, for the chance of still being able to get back into this game, although they have kicked that one off a little bit too deep, unless they get the turnover here in the breakdown. Ball stays on the side of the Argentines, short side run. They're just trying to find a way of taking some time off the clock. 60 seconds will feel like a long time, definitely, if France can get the ball back. Gonzalez, 2-man tackle on him, bit of a counter ruck from France. Graziano holding strong to keep it on the side of Los Pumas. Thought about the wide cut-out pass there for Ariata in the middle of the field. And another penalty. This time goes the way of the French. Arto, why is he yelling so much? I think he wanted them to get a yellow card against him. Rebage going off to Nelson Epe. He will score the try. And France still do somehow have a chance in this one. They are up to 17. No matter what happens, I think you turn down the chance of I guess you still need the conversion just in case for the French. And they have got it over. This game is at a few late turns, ladies and gents, and I guess that is smart from France because that means now they can take a penalty drop kick and still go on to win this game. I usually like to see a comeback, but not when it's France. Vamos Los Pumas, says Yanko. But 5 seconds remaining. France kick off. It's going to be tricky to be able to retain it. Slapped back by Argentina. They kick that ball away. It's into touch, and that will be the end of the contest. 21 points to 19. But geez, did it get close near the end of it between those two sides. But in the end, Argentina do book themselves their spot through to the semi-finals. It looked confident for a start, but it looked a little bit less likely near the end of the game. But 21-19 end score in that game too. So it will be South Africa versus Argentina in the second semi-final and Fiji versus Australia in the first one taking place later on. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in, not just to the sevens, but also to the URC as well. 44 points to 21, the win for the Stormers. But I do also want to mention that in around 3 hours' time, we have got that contest taking place between the Lions and Leinster. So be sure to tune in for that one as well. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.